Education imparts knowledge, and knowledge reflects the persona and character building of an individual, society, and the world in general. We at St. Pious X Degree and Postgraduate College for Women strive towards women empowerment through holistic education and to mold them into competent, socially committed, and compassionate individuals with a mission to achieve high academic and ethical standards with scientific aptitude and social consciousness through value-based quality education. The motto of the college is truth, light, and life. The burning candle symbolizes the committed life of a person, and the flame is a symbol of divine knowledge, which permeates and fills the entire world. The circles symbolize the inner self and the outer world, which constantly lead from untruth to reality, darkness to light, and death to the life. The pioneers and the torchbearers. Our college was established in 1993 by Catechist Sisters of St. Anne, a congregation founded in 1914 by Reverend Father Silvio Pasquale from Italy. The college is named after Pope St. Pius X, who was humble, simple, and had profound faith in God. The congregation, under the able leadership of Mother Enriqueta, Mother Celestina, Mother Eliza Gopu, Mother Regina Singha Reddy, and the present Superior General, Mother Rose Linda, successfully runs 59 educational institutions, which include 50 schools, 5 junior colleges, 1 degree college, 1 B.Ed college, 1 pharmacy college, and a D.Ed college, and serves the poor in 36 orphanages, 12 hospitals, 22 social service centers, 1 home for the aged, a old age support scheme, and other charitable projects. The St. Anne's Generalate at Hyderabad is the head office of the management. Reverend Mother Rose Linda, the Superior General of Catechist Sisters of St. Anne and the President of St. Pius X Degree and Postgraduate College for Women, is a strong pillar in the growth of this institution. Under her stewardship, the college has achieved great success. Our respect to great visionary Mother Eliza Gopu, a woman of prayer, was moved with compassion to see the rural girls lacking the opportunities to pursue higher education. Mother Regina Singha Reddy conceptualized and initiated to establish St. Pius X Degree College with a hostel attached in the year 1993 as an offshoot of St. Pius X group of institutions. The seed sown and nurtured by founder principal Mother Regina Singha Reddy with 72 students had grown into a mighty banyan tree, spreading over with 24 departments and with 2,300 students pursuing undergraduate and postgraduate courses. Mother Regina Singha Reddy has been the real architect of the institution, and the legacy has been carried forward by the skillful and masterly administration of Dr. Sister Udumala Nirmala, Sister Manikyam, and presently by the dynamic and brilliant administration of Sister Velangini. The vast and rich experience of the correspondents, late Sister Consolatina, late Sister Rosemary, and presently Sister Japamala, constantly direct the institution on the right track. Professor Kalidas, Principal of MBA, and Dr. Annie Sunil, the Campus Coordinator, render diligent service for the effective functioning of the institution with a band of 96 committed, energetic, and well-qualified professionals with 25 supporting staff members. The college is centrally located at Nacharam, Hyderabad, amidst prestigious organizations like CCMB, IICT, and CDFT in the vast expanse of 3 acres. The classes are run in 3 5-storied magnificent buildings with 48 lecture halls, 32 laboratories, a boardroom, a conference hall, and spacious playground. Home away from home. The hostel with 36 rooms and 3 reading rooms attached to the college provides facilities to the students at subsidized rate for rural women. The wonderful journey of St. Pius X in this span of 25 years has come a long way, with more than 2,300 students passing through its doors every day, enrolled into 14 undergraduate and 6 postgraduate programs in arts, commerce, sciences, and business management. The statutory committees, anti-ragging, student welfare, minority, grievance and redressal, and Snehita Counseling Center cater to the overall development of the students. Internal Quality Assurance Cell, IQAC, SL of St. Pius X College is the heart of the college to bring in new initiatives for the quality education and sustenance of this institution. The sincere and collective efforts of the management, IQAC, 32 various committees and students fetched St. Pius X Degree College A grade with CGPA 3.16 in 2013 during NAAC first cycle and A+ grade with 3.38 CGPA in second cycle in 2018, highest among affiliated degree colleges of Telangana. We thank Almighty for bestowing the honor and award and our sincere gratitude to all the stakeholders for their relentless contribution. Curriculum and beyond. The college is affiliated to Usman University and adheres to the syllabus prescribed by the Usman University of Hyderabad. In addition to the academic curriculum, the college initiated a number of extra courses to bridge the gap between the institution and industry. Various certificate courses are offered on multimedia, web technologies, quantitative aptitude, beauty culture and baking, modules on personality development, courses on life skills, global competencies and counseling promote professional and technical expertise. 12 value-added courses, 18 interdisciplinary, 2 diploma courses, online certificate courses and bridge courses are being offered to the students. The institution encourages a variety of student-centric methods such as experiential learning, participative learning, and problem-solving methodologies. Faculty use various interactive and innovative teaching methods aided by ICT resources and LMS, making teaching and learning interesting and learner-centered. Group discussions, jam, debates, presentations, quiz, role plays are conducted as club activities by various departments. Guest talks are arranged by inviting experts from the field of academics and industry. National and international field trips. Field trips to places of historical importance, research centers, and industries are arranged. Value classes, seminars, and prayer services promote religious tolerance and universal brotherhood. The institution addresses to integrate cross-cutting issues into the curriculum by conducting a number of programs on gender equity, diverse environmental issues, interfaith meet, national festivals, women empowerment, and career guidance. Academic excellence. The institution carved a niche for itself at the Usman University by achieving 90% and above results every year with consistent, good academic performance. In the span of 25 years, we are proud to be credited with 95 university ranks and 24 gold medals in various disciplines. Many students also secured 100% result in various courses. The secret behind the success of the college is its well-maintained discipline and a strong team of faculty and management. Congratulations to Pious X family. The management organizes faculty enrichment programs on various topics to upgrade the teachers with latest pedagogical tools at state, national, and international levels. Faculty members are encouraged to attend faculty development programs, workshops, seminars, conferences, refresher and orientation courses organized by university and other institutions to widen their horizon of knowledge enriched with experience. Infrastructure advancement. The institution provides the best experimental facilities with 32 well-equipped and sophisticated laboratories. The UG and PG laboratories with advanced equipments facilitate research and innovation. Wi-Fi enabled campus and high-speed internet gateway provide seamless connectivity across the campus. 4 computer laboratories, a digital communication lab, commerce lab, and mass communication studio open the door for effective learning experience. The institution facilitates 3 well-stacked libraries furnished with congenial academic ambience for reading. Central and departmental libraries with a vast collection of 24,000 books cater to the curriculum as well as to general knowledge. The library hub with 22 workstations for e-learning and library is fully automated. 61 national and international journals and magazines, e-resources with e-journals and e-books and other periodicals help the students to gain knowledge about latest developments. Star user cards are provided to the students who excel annual examinations. Neighborhood library facility is also extended to the senior citizens and homemakers. The administrative office is fully automated. Memorandum of Understandings, linkages and collaborations. The institution links and collaborates with reputed industries and premier institutes. It has 60 MOUs and 70 linkages for student exchange programs, workshops, placements, internships, research projects for establishment of student chapter, educational tours, medical camps, e-waste management, and for outreach programs like IMRF, International Multidisciplinary Research Foundation for promoting research. STARS, Society for Training Awareness Recruitment and Social Service, NGO for external activities. Nehru Zoological Park, Hyderabad for adoption of animals. Butterfly Conservation Society for nature conservation. ITC's WOW, Wealth Out of Waste for solid waste recycling. NIIT, National Institute of Information Technology. STUMAGS for learning management system. ATM across the Monde for diploma in travel and tourism. Indian Academy of Sciences, IISc. Andhra Pradesh State Council of Higher Education, APSHI.
Very good morning to one and all. I, Sujata Uram, on behalf of Research Committee, invite all the participants to the two-day online faculty development program, Research Methodology and Software Tools in Research, organized by IQAC and Research Committee of St. Pious X Degree and PG College for Women. The main aim of organizing this FDP is in globalized world, the role of research in an academic institution is significant for its sustainability and development. Research not only generates useful vision and confidence, but also acts as a stimulant for academic growth. Sound conceptual understanding of various quantitative and qualitative research methods, research tools, and techniques is an essential prerequisite for conducting research. This FDP is being organized to formulate researchers to gain set of skills and potentiality to undertake the research very efficiently and directs the researchers through all the stages of research from identifying a research problem to the submission of a dissertation, report writing, research article, and also enables the application of reference management tools. Now we proceed to the session. Now I request Dr. Sangeeta from the Department of Physics to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Lalita Guru Prasad from University of Hyderabad. Over to Sangeeta, ma'am.
Yeah, good morning, one and all. Good morning, one and all. I, Dr. M. Sangeeta from Department of Physics and Pious College, take this opportunity to introduce eminent Professor Lalita Guru Prasad, Madam from School of Chemistry, University of Hyderabad. She will be speaking to us on academic writing and research ethics. Before that, Professor Lalita Madam completed MSc in 1989 and obtained PhD in chemistry from Osmania University in 1994. Later, she worked as postdoctoral fellow at Birkbeck College, London, and the Department of Biochemistry, University of Cambridge, in collaboration with Ludwig Institute for Cancer Research, London, and Glaxo Wellcome Stevenage, UK. She worked on the characterization of the function and structure of some of the proteins in the signal transduction pathways, such as SH2 domains and their interaction with phosphorylated peptides. Hello, am I audible, Sujata?
Yes,
Hello.
yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah. She worked on the characterization of the function and structure of some of the proteins in the signal transduction pathways, such as SH2 domains and their interactions with phosphorylated peptides, SH3 domains, polyproline interactions, and pH domain. She has used tools in molecular biology, protein purification, structure determination using X-ray crystallography, and protein ligand binding assays using ITC and surface plasma resonance. Dr. Lalita Guruprasad joined the School of Chemistry, University of Hyderabad as a lecturer in October 2000, and she was a reader and associate professor from 2004 to 2010. And now she is presently professor in chemistry from November 2010. Uh, Coming to research, Professor Lalita Guruprasad's group is pursuing research in the areas of genome sequence analysis and has developed ab initio methods for the identification of repeats and domains in proteins using computational tools. The main research emphasis is on the proteins in Mycobacterium tuberculosis genome, malarial parasite, and human kinases responsible for cancer. She has a number of national and international publications to her credit, and also has a super guided number of funded projects to her credit. Uh, 8 students have obtained PhD degree, and currently there are 5 students pursuing research under our guidance. Apart from this, Madam has also guided many student projects from MTech and MSc backgrounds. Uh, with this short introduction, I welcome Madam to take over and give our presentation on academic writing and research ethics.
Thank you, madam, for the kind introduction. It was not short, it was quite long, actually. Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. You are audible, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm
Please
sharing the
continue.
screen.
Okay, ma'am.
Is my screen seen now?
Not yet, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, fine. Thank you, the IQAC cell of St. Pious College, for women for the kind invitation. Actually, I should congratulate you because even University of Hyderabad is not able to do any of these online courses, and that's because of students are from all over India, and we are not able to get them at the same time. So my congratulations to you and for doing this successful program, and I also thank you all for the kind invitation. The topic that has been given to me is academic writing and research ethics. And the outline of my presentation, again given to me by the organizers, is how to write a scientific paper to publish to publish the paper in a high impact factor journal, and ethics in research methodology, anti-plagiarism strategies for research paper, and how to identify predatory journals. This is currently a big problem that all of us are facing, and the concept of journal indexation and open access journals. Okay, so what is it that we want to tell in a scientific paper? To be in a position to write a scientific paper, one has done a lot of scientific discovery to solve a problem by doing some kind of a research work or a very important piece of research work. By doing this research, we are able to get new data, generate new results, develop innovative ideas, and now we want to communicate them to the scientific community and in general to public also. And the most effective way of communicating our results is by manuscript writing. And okay, the topic that was given to me was to be able to publish in a high impact journal. There's nothing like, I mean, though we say that there are several journals which have a high impact, I would say that the process of writing a paper, whether to a high impact journal or a low impact journal, is more or less the same. And I will also in the next 2 slides show you that uh, a high impact journal need not necessarily mean the best journal for your work, right? So, yeah, the impact factor of a journal is for a particular year is calculated by calculating the number of citations that particular journal has received in the previous 2 years divided by the total number of papers published in that journal. So this is how a citation index or the impact factor for a journal is given. Likewise, there is also something else called as a H index. If you can see in the table below, there is something called as a H index. This basically means, I'm showing you for the chemical reviews here. This basically means that against chemical reviews, there is a number of 656. Okay. So if the total number of papers that are published in chemical reviews are say 96,888, it means that there are at least 656 papers which have a citation of 656 and above. So most journals are going by either the H index or the impact factor. So there are many web servers where we can go and search to find out which is the best journal to publish our work. I've taken the example of this Scimago Lab, and this is the website that I have given here. And so if you go to this website and if you just say chemistry, if you are looking for chemistry journals and if you arrange them in the decreasing order of H index, you will see that chemical reviews stand first, saying that this is the best journal, followed by JACS, followed by Angewandte Chemie, followed by Chemical Society reviews, so on and so forth. So this is the statistics only for chemistry. If you go for the statistics to the same website for all the subjects, what again we see is that Nature comes first, because Nature is not necessarily publishing chemistry oriented papers, but it looks at disciplines across all subjects. Nature, followed by Science, followed by New England Journal of Medicine, Cell, The Lancet. PNAS comes later, and then the chemical reviews, which actually stood first in the chemistry alone, will come as will stand at the 7th position. So if we change subjects versus chemistry, the list of the order of list is actually changing. And from here, if I go to another way of looking at citations of papers, that is the Science Citation Index had actually asked Thomson Reuters to list the journals that have published the top 100 papers that have been cited. So what Thomson Reuters actually had done was it had searched 58 million items, including databases covering life sciences, social sciences, arts, humanities, that is, it is across all the disciplines, conference proceedings, and some books. And what it had said is that the top paper has received a citation of about 300,000, and the subject belongs to a biology technique, lab technique, and this was published in 1951 in JBC, Journal of Biological Chemistry. It's an ACS publication. And the work that has been done is protein measurement with fallen phenol reagent. Likewise, if you go down the list, you see that the next best citation is again for a biology lab technique. This was published in Nature in 1970. And this also has received about 213,000 citations. So if you keep coming down, what you will see is that I've just quickly went from first to the 100th paper. And what I have realized is that to be able to stand as the 100th paper in this Thomson Reuters list, it required about 112 it required about 12,000 citations. And most of the papers that belong to this top 100s list is mainly from the biology work, laboratory methods, protein purification, DNA isolation, DNA purification. So the biology is taking a precedence in the last, maybe 30, 40 years. And these papers are being cited more and more. And if you see this list of papers, only Nature was in the earlier list, PNAS was in the earlier list, and none of these JBC or analytical biochemistry or physical reviews, Journal of Chemical Physics, none of these were listed in the high impact journals. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that impact factor is I wouldn't say it's not a big deal, but we should not worry about the impact factor. But whatever work we do, we should be able to find a journal where the readers who are interested in this kind of work are likely to read, right? So don't worry about the impact factor. Look for the editorial board. Look for what kind of readers would like to read that journal or those papers. So that is the way I think, to find a journal to publish your research work, and not necessarily a high impact journal. If that happens to be a high impact factor journal, well and good, you're lucky. But most often it doesn't happen, but never mind, you should work towards writing a good paper. So I'll spend the next few, maybe about 10-20 minutes in telling you how to write a typical scientific paper. And I think everybody in the audience here already has written several papers, on their own. Never mind, I think, it's always a good thing to revise every now and then. So, okay. So now we will see that. So now what we will see is that most of the papers follow this particular format. They have something called as a title of the paper, followed by keywords and abstract. And such papers actually followed this IMRAD format. So what is this IMRAD format? The IMRAD format is basically a introduction, methods, results, and discussion format. So in the introduction, what we do is we describe the purpose of doing the work or writing the paper, and we cite whatever is the known literature. We tell what is it that is lacking, and we also tell, of course, I'll go through all these very systematically in the coming slides, and we will also tell here what has been done by us. And in the experimental section or method section, depending upon which journal you're writing, the headings change a little bit. Some call the abstract also as summary. Some journals call the abstract also as summary. Never mind, the content should be same. So you have this experimental section or the method section where you tell the short description of the instruments or the apparatus we have used and what are the procedures that we have adopted. And then you have a results and discussion section where we actually tabulate all the results that we identified, and then we try to interpret the results. And then finally we conclude our work. Sometimes this conclusion section is absent in some of the journals. So conclusion is actually written as a part of the discussion in the paper. And references are most important. Most often what we do is we take the references from somebody else's paper and we cite them in toto. There are two difficulties in this. One is we might actually put a wrong citation. That's one thing, or that is citing it in a wrong place. And the other thing is also that like if they have made a mistake, we also make the same mistake. And these days, importantly, most of the papers are available online, thanks to Sci-Hub, quote unquote. So it's possible that we can download the paper, read it, and more importantly, reading the paper is important because we can actually stop or control the plagiarism. So reading the paper and rewriting it in our own words is important for many reasons. So it's not blindly copy the references, but read the paper and then write. Most importantly, also what happens here is that each journal will have its own format of reference writing. And what recently means, in the 2 years ago, what I've discovered is that my students use something called as a Google Scholar. So in the Google Scholar, if you go and paste the title of the paper, maybe some authors also, it will give you the citation in several different formats. and one such format will actually suit your journal style. So you don't have to redo a lot of work, but then copy paste your title in the Google Scholar, take the reference in the required format and put it in your reference list. I think somebody also must have covered that there are many other ways of keeping a track of references. So that can also be adopted depending upon which software is available for your institute, right? So okay, so far what we have done is we have done the work in a lab. So doing the work is actually the proof of the pudding, because we have a concept in mind, we have done the work, and then now we should be able to put the work in words so that somebody is actually able to read it. So how is the format in which one can actually write the paper? So in writing a scientific paper, always use standard writing software such as Word, LaTeX, so on and so forth. And also if you have to draw, say, some chemical reaction scheme, ChemDraw is a good way to draw your reaction scheme, so on. So that can be done. And then there are there are many nice ways of making figures in PowerPoint presentation. You can it just depends on how much time one can do. One can spend actually. So I think students are better at doing figures than the senior people like me. So that's one way of doing it. And when you're writing a paper, I think the best thing is not to stick to science, nothing but the science, and your expression should be clear, and you should not have any unnecessary, very difficult words or jargons. I think science is understood by most people in a simple language, and then it should be written directly in a simple language, and then always try to use the standard words, such as if you're talking about a compound, use the IUPAC nomenclature, use International System of Units. So such things actually means that everybody in the world over is able to understand that. And again, science is very logical, and even a layman can understand a very nicely written article. That's what most of the people feel. So try to be as logical as possible with very simple words. And again, to come back to where to start your writing your paper, most of the people means there are many guides to writing papers. So for example, RSC website, Royal Society of Chemistry site has a website dedicated to telling how to write a scientific paper. Likewise, American Chemical Society also has a website to tell how to write papers. But most of them actually recommend that we start paper writing with the method section, because the method section is something that you have been doing very religiously, and you already have all the protocols in your notebook. So it's good to start with the method section. And while you're actually doing the experiment, also if you feel that you're getting positive results, or if you think that we have made a good progress, then we can also start writing the introduction simultaneously. Because to formulate the problem or to frame the problem, we would have read lots of papers. Okay, so we can also start writing the introduction while we are in the last stages of our experimental work. So start writing your method section because you have the data. Write your introduction. So once these two are there, then you will know what others are talking about this problem, or how others are interpreting the data. So then you can go to your results section. Then one can go to the discussion section. Then abstract and title. Abstract and title I have put at the end, but these are very important for any given paper, because these are the ones that actually catch the eye of the reader. And though I said you have done the introduction in the beginning to frame the problem, it so happens that while you are doing the work, also somebody must have published a paper in a related area or in the same piece of work. Okay, so literature search is a continuous process. Therefore, keep doing literature search. And for students especially, it's always important to do a journal alert. That is, if you have some favorite journal in which papers that you often read are appearing, then you can go to that journal site and say subscribe, so that whenever that journal comes up with the issue, you'll get the content of the journal. So from the title, you will know whether you want to read that particular paper or not. And also, while you are doing this paper writing, whatever is the latest literature, that also has to be cited. Right. So we will now go in the chronological order. of how to write the paper. Title is the most important and catchy part of the entire paper. So I just said that we subscribe to journals and ask them to send us the table of contents, right? So maybe I don't spend more than 2 to 2.5 minutes even for a journal like Nature. If the title is catchy, if the title is something of my interest, then I read it, otherwise I don't. Therefore, title is actually called as a face of the paper. It is like an advertisement, it is like a punchline, it's like a tagline, right? So one has to have a very good title to a paper so that it is able to catch the reader. Supposing say there is an advertisement, or when we are watching say some YouTube video, there are some advertisements, there are these 5-second advertisements that come. If the advertisement is good, we continue to read it, watch it. If the advertisement is not good, we just say skip ad and then we go back to our video, whatever we want to watch, right? So it's like that. So it's like our not 5-second like the YouTube advertisement, but it's our 10-second opportunity to connect with the reader who's a passerby, because we're just scrolling the table of contents from top to bottom. And so your title should be so very catchy that you're able to grasp the reader's attention in this very short time. And most often there is something called as a keyword that that the journals ask. That is, these are the important aspects or points on which you have done the research, right? So, and the keywords are very important because these keywords are used by search engines like say Yahoo, Google, and many of these indexed sites also use these keywords only from the title, from the abstract, to be able to get the papers. So use appropriate keywords and try to see if you can use these keywords in the title of the paper also. That way, you're doubly sure that your paper, because if somebody is able to do a Google search to find a paper of their choice, then your paper actually comes up as in the top of the list. And some of the journals also ask something called as a running title. So while you make the title of a paper as a scientific with scientific wordings, a running title can be in simple language for somebody to understand. So running title is also something that often journals ask, and we should be able to we should be prepared to give. And also journals ask for graphical abstract. That is, when you write the abstract, they also want a picture next to it. So choose the. I didn't put that in my lecture, therefore it just occurred to me. Some of the journals also ask you for a graphical abstract. So choose the best picture and include a legend to that, and put your abstract, and abstract in a shortened version so that you understand what the whole thing is about, right? So now we go to the writing the introduction part of the paper. Introduction part is as I said, very often we want to write the introduction just to feel good that we have started writing the paper. So introduction writing is more like telling a story. So how you tell a story: first what happened, second what happened, third what happened, and when the hero comes, or when the heroine comes, there is more vibrancy around. So like that, you should also tell a story about the introduction of your paper. So how one can do it is, though I'm saying this, it's very hard to write a paper. I think doing the work is much, much more simple than writing a paper. So I keep saying that writing the paper is most difficult part. It requires a lot of stamina. It requires a lot of willpower. So I think if you tell ourselves that I've written say 10 papers so far, so writing the 11th paper is not difficult, then that gives you more stamina and courage to proceed forward, right? So coming back to the information that is required in the paper, because you have done literature search so far to find out what is it that has been done so far. So that will form the first part of your paper. That is the introduction, maybe the first paragraph of the introduction of a paper. And most often you can tell about the importance of a particular compound. Supposing say you want to synthesize say some indole-based derivatives, then you can tell what is the importance of indole-based derivatives, why they are so very well present in natural products, and what kind of diseases they are able to cure. So all those things can be actually added, so that the reader gets more and more excited and thinks that yes, indole chemistry is what I would like to do, and so you should tell the importance of that particular subject. So even if somebody does not have any information information about it in the first place, you should be able to excite them. So that is the importance of the first maybe 1 or 1.5 pages of the introduction to tell exactly about why this topic is important and what has been done so far. And then instead of telling very vaguely about indole derivatives, you can come to your particular scaffold, and then you can tell about your particular substitutions and tell about the chemical features of these substitutions. Therefore, from the general indole chemistry, you are now coming to the particular science or chemistry or the molecules that you would want to understand. So you should now come from a larger perspective to zoom in and focus on the particular research aspect that you would like to explore. So tell them how important that particular work is, and then you tell again here what is it that is unknown, what is it that is an unsolved problem that you would like to do, and you should tell them that there is a gap in the knowledge. Something is known, something is unknown, therefore there is a gap in the knowledge, and therefore you should also say that there is somebody must have done a work only up to a particular extent, okay? They may not have done further. So you can also say that there is a limitation to the prior studies, therefore you know how important it is to further work on that, right? So the important goal of writing an introduction is to demonstrate that the work that you're doing is very important, and that there are certain missing pieces in the puzzle, and that your work is able to fill in the gaps. And often the last 2 or 3 lines in an introduction will be telling the reader what you have, not what you intend to do, what you actually have done, so that the reader already knows what kind of answer he or she will be getting. Then I think that the method section is more or less simple, because you know we have spent all these days doing the work. So when we write the method section, tell what are the instruments that have been used, and why certain experiments have been done, or how those experiments have been done. And you should be very clear in doing this, because tomorrow somebody else will repeat based on your work. Somebody else might want to continue their research, right? Therefore, whatever you suggest should be reproducible. Therefore, the method should be very clear, no ambiguity, nothing to hide here, because when somebody does the work, it should be reproducible. Because if it is not reproducible, they will write in another paper that we have reproduced the work of so and so and the experiments did not work. That time we should not cut a sorry face. So better to do everything in a very fair manner, in a very transparent manner. So write the method section very carefully. Many a times they call it as materials and methods. So materials is like from where you have procured the instruments, the chemicals, who is the supplier, Sigma, Aldrich, all those things, Fluka, all those things you mentioned. And then instead of writing the whole thing as a big lump, it is whatever experiment you have done first, not first, whatever is the chronological order of a reader should understand. First you have done the synthesis. So write about the synthesis, then you have done the characterization, tell about the NMR, IR, mass spec, tell about the characterization, then tell about the X-ray diffraction of that particular molecule, and say if you have done some in vitro studies for the molecule, then you can also say that you have done the in vitro study of the molecule. And if you have done the docking of the molecule into a receptor, then you can say that you have done the docking. So write in that particular order, so that you know in the order in which they should come in the method section. So that way the reader will understand properly. And always put a subheading. If you put a subheading with a nice heading, with a subheading, then they actually will read that and know what is it that is present here. And always, I didn't mention that, references should be cited at every stage wherever they occur. Okay. So citations are very important. If it is your citation, go ahead and cite. If it is somebody else's citation, it's more important to cite. Right. Right. So then one should be able to go to the after you have written the the introduction, methods, then go to the results and section division. And first of all, think at this stage, is it worth writing a paper? More often, after you've done the whole thing, you'll feel that the work that you've done is so silly that it's not worth writing a paper, or it may not be accepted the way it is. So at this stage, it's better not to proceed further and actually this wisdom will come to us only when we have read all the literature and only when we have, seen our results. So at this stage, it's better to go back and do some more experiments to, make our paper more, more heavy, more important. But if you think that there are certain important and unique results compared to all the previous reports, then go ahead and write the results. And here also, you can use the same subheadings as what you have used for the method section. That makes the reader, easy to understand. I mean, if required, they can go back to the method section once again after reading the results to see how, based on this method, how is it that the interpretation has been made. Even today, even today means, I think all of us go back and do this. When we read the results, we go back and read the method section once again to make sure that we have understood the whole thing properly. So here also make all the subheadings. And again, there is a little bit of confusion here. See, when we talk about when we have done an experiment, what we collect is data. Okay. Supposing, say, when I run NMR, then what I collect is something called as a chemical shift, the delta values. Likewise, if I say run mass spectrometry, then what I collect is something called as the M by Z values, right? So this is actually the data. But then this data means something else. Supposing, say, I have a delta, say 0.9, then I definitely know that I'm talking about, hydrogens linked to a aliphatic saturated carbons. Okay, so that kind of interpretation has to be made. So data should not be mixed up with results, and results should not be mixed up with data. So based on the data, you interpret the result. And also, when you say that there is something called a significant value, then there is something called as an error limit. Whenever, supposing, say, you have done a experiment which should never be done once, at least thrice it has to be done. And if you get concurrent results, then you say that, yes, my result is reproducible, therefore it is publishable, right? So supposing, say, I've done an organic reaction and I get a yield, say, of about 72% in the first experiment, 75% and 70% in the first, second and third trials. Then what I should do is, the result is within a narrow range of 70 to 75. So the error limit is okay. This is within the human error limit. And therefore, now I should say the yield is not 75% because that is the highest value. But then I should take an average of 70 to 75, 72.5, and then I should say plus or minus 2.5. Okay. So that way I'm giving the significant values, I'm giving the error limits, and I'm also giving my values very precisely. So this is very important. And sometimes what happens is we also get a positive result, which we want to write in the paper, but then all the time the results are not positive. Sometimes we get negative results also. How I put here a negative result is, supposing, say, when you do an organic reaction, say your reaction is working in 5-6 solvents, but then it doesn't work in, say, 2 solvents. Okay, then instead of hiding those 2 solvents and remove them from your table, you can also say that the reaction did not work in these 2, say, non-polar solvents. Therefore, when you say that the reaction did not work in 2 non-polar solvents, it basically means that a polar solvent is required as a medium for the reaction to be carried out. Therefore, based on this result, you'll be actually able to explain the mechanism of reaction also. Because if somebody is, say, using running some small molecule calculations, then you can give them these and say that they'll be able to say why a polar solvent is important for this particular work. Okay, so a negative result is also important. It will be able to explain the the data very well. So don't worry, show your negative results also. And often we are tempted to show we are tempted to write a little bit of discussion in the results also. So what is this temptation? We are in a hurry. We are able to quickly say that because I have found this is what it means. Okay, so result is what you have interpreted, data is what you observe, result is an interpretation of your data, and what is the meaning of your result actually becomes your discussion, right? So we should not bring discussion into the result section. Some journals, depending on the format, once again have results and discussion in the same section. If even in that case, you should finish your results completely, put a full stop, and then only say, from this we conclude, from this we understand that, from this we derive that. So such conjectures can actually be added, and we can derive a discussion from the result, but then generally don't try to put these two. So this okay, I forgot to mention, so I have taken, I mean, most of this is from most of what I'm talking about is already there in the literature. So the paper from where I have taken, I've actually put it here. And okay, so what it says is that this paper has a table. It says that the options for presenting the order of results is chronological order. Chronological order need not mean the way in which you have done it. Maybe you have done a very simple experiment, last, doesn't matter. But the way in which a reader or you understand should be kept in that order. And then sometimes it so happens that you can put a topic in one place, or you can put a group of experiments in one place. That way also you can group your experiments, and you can go from a very general experiment to a very specific experiment or a very involved experiment, or you can also go from the most important experiment to a least important experiment. I think it all depends upon the way you feel reading is comfortable. If you are comfortable reading your paper, then I think most often the reader also will find it comfortable. Then the most, again, very important, see, I would say that the abstract of the soul, the discussion of a paper is like a soul. Okay, soul is very important, right? So the discussion of a paper is very as important as a soul to an individual. It explains what the result mean, and most importantly, it explains what contribution your paper has making to the field of your study. Okay, even if you have done the best of the experiments, and even if you have done, even if you have used, say, 800 megahertz NMR and solve the structure of a very complex molecule natural product with, say, 5 asymmetric centers, if you're not able to explain what it means, it doesn't add to the beauty of the paper. So even if you have the best of experiments and results, the discussion should be very, it should be, it should stir your soul. Okay, it should be like that. So yeah, as I said, the discussion part is very important. And while we write the discussion, we can, because we have doing the work or writing the paper with a particular intention, right? So all those intentions are already there in the introduction. So by the time a reader comes to a discussion part, they have crossed methods, they have crossed results, so they might have forgotten a little bit. So it's always good to write 1 or 2 sentences about the introduction, about why you have done the work or what is it that you're looking for. You can take it from introduction, paraphrase it if you want, or sometimes you can copy it straight away, put it in the introduction, and then the last 5 or 6 lines of the discussion will be the big picture. Supposing, say, I have done the docking of a molecule into a receptor binding site. Okay, that's what I often do. So if that is what I have done, I haven't discovered a drug for cancer at all. But then I can say that we are closer to the drugs for discovery for cancer drugs. Okay, then I can say that if somebody is able to do the in vitro work, if somebody is able to do the in vivo work, it actually adds value to the studies. Okay, so that is called as a big picture. So you start the discussion with one sentence about introduction, or maybe more, depending on how much it's required. And lastly, you can also conclude the discussion by telling the grand picture about the paper. So you may not have done it, but that actually tells you that you have a holistic view of the paper. And also the introduction, let me just go back to introduction section once again. The introduction section, most often we write it in about 2 to 3 pages. And what will happen is there is a word limit to each of these sections for most journals. So I find it very hard to write, because I believe that certain amount of knowledge, whatever I have read from reading the papers, I should pass on to the reader, because unless the reader knows all this information, they will not be able to understand my paper. They will not be able to understand what has been done before. They will not be able to understand what is it that is lacking. Okay, so under such a situation, I will try to write in a abridged manner, but then I will put all the papers. So if by the way of citing a paper, if a reader wants, they can go back and read more from the original articles that you have cited. So try to put in as much information as possible in the introduction from the earlier cited papers. But importantly, these papers should be relevant to your work. Just because to make a introduction lengthy, don't try to put all garbage. Try to cite only those papers that are required, but put all the papers that are required for a reader to understand what is it that we are talking about, right? Likewise, okay, so once we make once while we are writing, say, a discussion from uh, uh, from the work that we have done, one has to be very fair and balanced, and no tall claims. So what I mean by saying this is that your experiment you have done will only give you a certain result, right? It cannot give you all the results. So whatever your result tells, only you should be able to say that from this result, this is what we are interpreting, okay? But then I cannot say that just because I have done the docking, okay, from docking to a drug in the market, there are hundreds of steps, okay? So all these steps or hurdles have to be crossed in order to say that my molecule has become a drug. So I can say that, yes, I have come one step closer. So that is a fair and balanced interpretation. But then I cannot say that I have found a drug for cancer from the docking result, okay? So you cannot make unnecessary claims, because in fact the reviewers also will not agree. But from our side also, we should be very humble when we make a interpretation of our result while we are running the while we're writing the discussion. And also explain, of course you'll explain all the results that are positive, but then you will also have certain unexpected results, certain results which you have not expected. So normally what we'll try to do is we'll try to pretend as though they didn't come at all. We'll just remove all those things from our notebook, and we will say that we will not talk about this. Please don't do that. Even if you have an unexpected result, just say that this is what we have observed, and try to say what it means, okay? Even if you are not able to understand, in future, if somebody has found a similar result, then they will have confidence that yes, such results were observed by somebody else, so we are also able to observe. And also maybe such results will actually tell you what are the other alternative ways of explaining your findings. So that chance also is there. And also in these unexpected results, sometimes what my colleagues say is that when they synthesize, they have an impurity, okay? That impurity they are not able to purify, they're not able to crystallize, they're not able to tell what it is, okay? But then if you supposing say have a NMR spectrum, okay, with certain chemical shifts, unwanted because this is not from your compound, just don't hide them. If you're able to, and most journals these days want raw data, I'm sure all of us understand this. There is no way we can hide the peaks or hide the result. But whatever it is, still maybe it is coming from an impurity, and then maybe you can theoretically say that from this experiment maybe this is a side byproduct. From this byproduct can have a chemical shift here, so maybe this is what it is. So you can tell certain unexpected results by being fair, okay? And many a times what happens is we should tell the limitations of our study. That way the reviewer also will know that this is an experiment that done. Most often when I send a paper, they say that you do the experiment, you do the experiment and come back. Say, I don't have an organic synthetic chemist to do the experiments for me. I do biology work, experiments I do in my lab, but then I don't have a synthetic chemist as a collaborator. So, but then if I write in the last part of my discussion that probably if these experiments were done using in vitro and in vivo studies, they'll actually strengthen my result, then the reviewer will know that yes, this is a limitation that this person has with this problem. So he or she, she can only publish theory work. So therefore they will not force me to do experiments. Most often the reviewers will just return the paper saying that do all these 5 experiments and then submit the paper. You feel that it's better to not publish the paper than to do all those experiments, because it's impossible to do all that work, okay? So whatever is the limitation of your work, you should tell, so that one thing is the reviewer will not ask you to do those experiments, and secondly they will also know that you have knowledge about all these experiments that they should have been done, but you're not able to do because whatever problem you have, so they'll not force you further, right? And yeah, so I said that discussion is the soul of a paper. So it should, I don't know how many of you know Telugu, but hrudayane kariginchali. We should be able to write a discussion like that. So if sole rendering is the discussion, then abstract is the heart of the paper, because heart is small, but then it's doing the most vital work. Okay, so abstract is sometimes also called as a summary of the paper, and it's also a mini paper. It's a very condensed part of your the entire paper. So how do you write the abstract? The first one or two sentences of your abstract will have will be from the introduction. The last one or two sentences will be either will be from you're telling what your results mean, but most importantly, you should be able to tell what is the major contribution of your work to that particular paper. That should be the major part of any given abstract. There is a table here, which again I have taken from this particular paper, which shows what are the various things, do's and don'ts in an abstract. For a well-written abstract, they say don't include figures, don't cite figures, don't use any abbreviations, and then there are quite a few things. Okay, so you can go back and read this yourself. And I like this abstract because after I've read the title, I'll read the abstract. Not only me, most of us do that. And if so, supposing say you have met somebody, okay, supposing say you have met a very important person, your principal, in the lift when you're going to your room, okay, and the principal asks, how are you, what kind of work, what kind of work you're doing. So you don't want to miss the opportunity. For example, me, if I bump into my vice chancellor, and if you ask me, Lalita, how are you, what is it that you're doing, then in a minute's time I want to tell him the recent work of my research, right? So this is my 1 minute opportunity to tell what is it that I'm doing. So abstract is something like that. It's similar to an elevator talk. It's your 1 minute opportunity to convince the reader how important your work is. So so you should be as catchy as possible, include all the keywords, tell all the important things that you have done in the paper, so that the reader will be excited to go through your paper further. And also all the students, this is for students, okay, whenever students, I hope you're all here participating. If you meet somebody, they'll ask you what is it that you're doing, okay. That time you should not think for words. You should make a speech for 1 minute of what you're working on, 5 minute speech of what you're working on, 10 minute speech of what you're working on. And whenever you do a piece of work, make figures, tables, and put it into PowerPoint presentation, so that if there is a chance, you should be able to make a PowerPoint presentation of your work. Okay, so yeah, so it's so that all this also will help you when you're writing the paper. So all the figures that you do should be, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So making beautiful figures is a very important aspect of a paper writing. It's an art of paper writing. And then there are many software that can be used. And then we can also make colorful figures, and then tabulate all your results. Whatever is your errors that you have seen, you can put. And here also you can compare with literature. You can say that somebody found only 30% yield with this solvent, but I have found 50%. Okay. You can also explain maybe in the discussion why that discrepancy you have found. And there is a typo here. It is all add legends that convey accurate titles. So you should, for figures and tables, you should add titles so that it is able to convey the accurate meaning. And most figures earlier, figure publications was very difficult earlier, but now the journals will, for the print version, they charge money, some of the journals, but otherwise online, all journals will give you free colorful, color figures are accepted for the online version of the manuscript. So make good colorful figures. Right. So I hope, we have all gone, I hope we have now gone through how to write a paper. I wouldn't call it as a high impact paper, whether you write for high impact, low impact, the process is same. And when we are submitting the paper, go to that Scimago site. I consult that usually. That will tell you which are the likely journals where, you can send your paper. And often if you have read, if supposing say you have been reading 10 papers from a particular journal, maybe your paper also can go to that journal. Okay, so maybe that is one good way of finding which journal you can send your paper. And again, as a rule of thumb, send your paper to the best journal, high impact factor, Then if they reject, some of my papers even go through 5-6 rounds of publishing. By the time I submit my paper in the lab and I come home, I see that it has returned. It's as bad as that. So earlier, what would happen is you would send the paper by post and wait for a week or even a month for them to reject. So at least you'll be happy for a month that you have submitted a paper. Now that happiness lasts only for an hour, that's all. You submit and you come back, you see the paper is back. Again, you sit up the whole night, you change the format, you send it to a second journal. Anyway, there is a journal for every paper. So one should not feel disheartened. So once you have sent a paper, or rather, I wouldn't even call it sending a paper. While you're writing a paper also, one has to follow certain ethical practices, and so one should follow the research in ethics, and one should not adopt this plagiarism strategy. What is this plagiarism strategy? There are certain ways. See, actually what happens is, while we are reading a paper from say a website or a printed paper, what will happen is, we have been doing the literature collection and then we read the published papers for our research, and they will have a profound impact on our language. And importantly, English is not our native language. We all have our own mother tongue, and we are more comfortable in our mother tongue. So writing in a foreign language, though we have studied in English medium schools, still we are not comfortable with English. So whatever we read, only those words only will come to us, and that language only will come to us. So this is a very difficult task for us to write a paper. So the language is a greater impediment for us in writing a paper than anything else, actually. So but because we have read 10 papers, our 11th paper also, if we are using the same language to write the paper, then it becomes plagiarism. And plagiarism is basically an unethical practice of taking somebody else's work we will not take, because in our literature search we already know what is the work that has been done. Therefore we will not take that work, we will take new work. Ideas we might take, because if somebody has done, say, work on indole derivatives with few substitutions, then I might also work on indole derivatives with substituted different positions. Okay, that idea I might take, but I will not take somebody's work. And words definitely we will take, because our language is limited. Whatever we have learned, we can reproduce. We are like parrots. We have read that, we have learned it, so I'll repeat that. Okay, so especially for Indians, this writing papers is quite tough, unless you have a big word bank to consult. Okay, and but more importantly, plagiarism becomes unethical if you don't give credit to that particular author. But now it has become more difficult, because even if you give credit to that paper, okay, even if you put that paper within brackets and say that so and so has said this particular sentence, we cannot use his or her exact sentence, and then we have to jumble the words without losing the meaning, A, B, but conveying the same message. Okay, so this is a very difficult task, because in a sentence there'll be, say, 20 words. How much can we jumble the words to allow these 20 words to give the same meaning, but in a different order? It's quite hard. So to beat plagiarism, what one can do is, as I said, it's always good to download papers. Earlier we had to only print paper and read, because there was no soft I'm talking about our days when the PC was not there. Only when I was writing my thesis, I think the PC came, personal computer. But even then, so we had to print papers, get them photocopied, very expensive job again. But now all of us have laptops, all of us can download papers and keep, and then you can nicely highlight the important parts in the paper, right? So from a soft copy only, you can make inference of what you want to use from that paper into your research article. Okay, so you paraphrase it several times such that you are able to beat plagiarism, right? That's one way of it. And there are many guidelines to avoid plagiarism to publish papers. I'll go through them in a short while. And in fact, this is also considered as an intellectual theft. Theft is like stealing. So we become robbers of intellectual property by taking somebody else's work. So this has to be strictly avoided. And UGC also keeps sending several notifications on plagiarism. And in fact, there is a lot of stringent criteria. Most often, for MSc, MA, or UG courses, there's nothing like plagiarism, but this comes for paper writing and thesis writing. In fact, a student must have published his or her own work. Even then, that paper is checked through to see whether whether their own paper is being plagiarized. It's called as self-plagiarism. So what students often do is they put their own work within quotes so that it is able to cheat the software. I don't know how these things work because it's often done between the librarian and the student. But then I understand it's a very hard work and difficult time that the student has to face. And in our university, we use a software called as Turnitin. So in this particular software, what happens is, I think, and then this threshold limit also, it keeps changing. At one stage, it was 15% plagiarism was all right. But now I think it has become 10% plagiarism from outside the lab work or outside the student work is allowed. And also, if there is a particular sentence, not more than 5 words are allowed from any given outside article. So you cannot use more than 5 words from a sentence taken from somebody else's paper, which means that you should be very good with your word bank. So keep writing, rewriting. After some time, of course, it will become a habit, but till one gets used to it, it is very difficult. And so, as I said, it is okay to adopt somebody else's ideas because the ideas could be limited, but then rewrite them into your own words. That is a very important aspect. And so in order to avoid plagiarism, as I said, download the paper, save it in your folder, rewrite it, read it a couple of times, and then paraphrase the whole thing. I think I'm running out of time already. Paraphrase it several times. Don't copy paste any sentence. And if at all you have to take somebody else's paper, put it in quotes and repeat verbatim and say that so-and-so has quoted this. And supposing, say, you're quoting your own work also, then then put a citation to your paper. That way, you know that you're not taking it just like that from somebody else's work. In fact, UGC is so very strict with this plagiarism because they say that by encouraging plagiarism, we are encouraging mediocre science within India. Not only within India, world over. Okay, therefore plagiarism is condemned. And in fact, there are certain papers which actually, whenever a plagiarism is caught, okay, then what happens is this plagiarism is actually coming not just for the words and sentences. Sometimes the figures also are taken from one paper and they're put into some other paper. So such things also have to be stopped. You can always make a new figure. Even if you want to say something similar, make a new figure in PowerPoint and show it. Never mind. Okay. And then before you submit your paper, there are many software. I don't use these, but then it's called as Plagiarism Checker X for PC, Turnitin. All these should be used to check the plagiarism before you submit your paper online to a journal for publication. Forget about thesis. Thesis anyway, your librarian will check. Your papers also should go through this kind of online sites. And then your own research ethics. As I said, if you have some actual data with certain impurities in the NMR spectrum or mass spectrum or IR, just show that. Try to find out what it is, then try to hide it. Okay. So, and as I said, many journals ask for original spectra, so there is no way by which one can actually, skip that. And even if it's your own work, cite your original work. Don't think it's my own work, so I can publish a second paper from it. No, your work can only be published once because you would have signed a license agreement with the publisher. When the first paper is accepted by a publisher, by publishing house, you might have signed a license agreement. Therefore, you have to stick to that. There is no way by which you can use that same data to publish a second paper. It's called, and then you can't steal your neighbor's work or your lab mate's work and publish it as your own work. These are all not a part of the research ethics. So it basically means that you should be ethical. So one has to practice ethical. We should have ethical practices in doing science. In writing the paper, there should be no plagiarism. Again, as I said, predatory journals is something that all of us are worried about. In fact, I'm also, I think I'm in the editorial board of some omics journal. I don't know how they got my name. They got my name. They put it in my website. My student asked me about 3-4 years ago if I'm I'm an editor. I said some papers I would get for reviewing. Maybe 1 or 2 I have done, but then beyond that I didn't do because I don't often find time to do. So just because I've reviewed some papers for them, they say that I have become their editor. I should write to them saying remove my name. I've done that a few times, but then they don't remove my name from their website. Anyway, it's actually a big issue. I can't say anyway because UGC strictly says that the faculty or students should not be a part of such predatory journals, do not publish in such predatory journals. Okay. So what are predatory journals? Predatory journals are being published from predatory houses. They prey on researchers. Supposing say in a, they prey on researchers. It's like a waiting to catch a prey. Okay. And then they collect fees for article processing charges, mentioning that this is being collected because it's an open access journal, but then this is being collected only for financial profit and nothing else. And most importantly, as the worst aspect is, these journals do not meet any of the scholarly publishing standards. Or what is a scholarly publishing standard? When we submit a paper, I expect that the paper is sent to peer review because I might have done a work in a particular manner, but then that may or may not be the right practice of doing it. So if somebody else reads my paper and says what are the flaws in my methods, or if there's any flaw in the way I have interpreted the data, then it actually makes that becomes a peer review comment, and then I can modify my paper further. So such comments are very essential to make your paper a better paper. So in the predatory journal, such peer review is not there. There are no comments that are being given to a paper, and they also cheat people in a way because it's like a counterfeit currency. They look alike like real currency note that we can give it to a shopkeeper to buy some groceries, but then it's a 420 note or a counterfeit note. We can't buy anything with it. It's like that because we can't buy anything means we can't claim API points because it's a plagiarized journal. And they also cheat the readers in a way that they use the same title as a very good journal. Okay, they just jumble the words, and then because sometimes it so happens that we may not be careful in reading, therefore because of the jumbled words we think that is the same journal, which is a very important one, and then we think that they have invited us, and then we'll submit our paper to them. And researchers are also therefore in this process they're hijacking the authors to publish the papers in their journals because they have a lookalike journal, lookalike title of the journal, but then it's not the same journal. And then we researchers are also in a hurry to publish papers. We are also to be blamed to some extent. Therefore, we are exploited because we are in a hurry to publish a paper because I don't have a paper in 2020. Let me publish it somewhere. That's what I think. But then after 2 years, I'll regret having published that paper in that journal because we are in a hurry and because of all the cheating that these journals do, we are exploited. So, okay, publishing houses such as RSC, ACS, Wiley, all these publishing houses, okay, they have to follow certain standard policies. These standard policies are laid out by certain organizations such as WAME, COPE, DOAJ, ICMJE, and CSC. So these, I'll tell you what these standard policies are in the next slide. But these standard policies are not followed by these predatory journals. They will say that they are sending the paper to peer review, but then they actually don't say send the paper. And then normal peer review, and then these predatory publishers frequently send emails as a mass to many of the the prospective paper writers, the researchers, saying that we are inviting you to write this paper. We think that it is illegitimate, and then they will say that they're collecting fees, and this fee is I'll come to the open access a little later, but then they will collect fees, but this fee is comparatively smaller. Okay, so we get tempted and submit our papers to these journals. As I said, though they say that they're submitting the paper for a peer review, they actually don't send the papers for peer review, and then they keep the paper for 3 or 4 days, and then they accept the paper. In fact, somebody from Vijayawada would write about 5-6 years ago saying that for 500 rupees they'll accept a paper in 2 days. What do you say? It is a crime to do such a thing. Okay, we take years to do a piece of work, and we have spent decades learning whatever we have learned, and by paying 500 rupees and getting a paper accepted in 2 days is something unpardonable mistake. We should not do such mistake. Okay, right? So the publishing houses are are given certain guidelines by certain agencies that say that they should have a website. The name of the journal should be constant. Sometimes the journal name also changes. Say from 2000 to 2005, the journal will have a particular name, but from 2006 onwards, the journal name has changed because of certain policies. They might have included more in the scope of the journal. So in that situation, they will tell that from 2000 to 2005, this was the name of journal. 2006 onwards is the new name of the journal. All those things have to be written in the journal website. They should tell what is the peer review process, what is the ownership, who's the governing body, who's the editorial board, contact information, if there's any grievance, how is it that they're going to access. All this information has to be put in the website. And if you see this predatory journals, you will see that there is one, Mr. X or Miss Y. That's all, nothing more than that. The same person will be editor for 250 journals. I just wonder how they do it, but there are ways of doing it. So okay, so each journal will have a unique editor, will have a unique editorial board, and these editorial board members are very famous in that particular area of research. So you should take it as a matter of pride if you're an editorial member of a given journal. If you're an editorial board member of a plagiarized, predatory journal, then it's actually a matter of shame. So one should see all these. You should see who's the editorial board member, before you send your paper. Do you recognize any of them? And also, if your colleagues are reading those papers, then you will know that yes, these papers, the papers in this journal have been read by me, by my colleagues, by my students. So it's a good journal. Therefore, I can send my papers. So this is the way you can avoid predatory journals. And there's a very nice website. It's called as Beall's List. So this Jeffrey Beall is a librarian and who meticulously collected all the journals. These journals have become more rampant after 2008. Predatory journals have become rampant after 2008. So from 2011 onwards till 17, he has collected the list of all the journals which are supposedly predatory journals. And then supposing, say, if you want to submit if you want to submit a paper to a journal, then go to this journal and see if it's a predatory journal. If not, you can go back and submit. There is a possibility that this site also can make mistakes. I'm not sure, but it's good always to search this. Recently, we had a screening in our university, not recently, about a year ago, and we had to go through the screening of the applications by going through this Beall's List also to find out if the prospective applicants have published in predatory journals. Nobody does it by interest. It can be just a mistake, but it's a check that one is doing. And UGC these days is very, very particular about predatory journals. It has laid down very strict rules, and it says that UGC has a University Grants Commission Consortium of Academic and Research Ethics, and it gives a list of cloned journals or predatory journals, and then it says that no API points will be given to papers published in this. And importantly, sometimes publishing a paper in this also becomes a disqualification to a prospective applicant. And then it strictly says that the faculty should not publish in such journals and they should not have any affiliation with such predatory journals. And all the predatory journals are also open access journals, but not open access journals are predatory journals. Very recently, means 2010 onwards perhaps, certain 9 onwards, certain journals have come up where this actually, I don't like this policy at all. I'll just tell you why it is. But then this open access journals maintain high standards of peer reviewing and editing. They collect huge publication charges. And the goal of this open access publishing is to disseminate the knowledge to larger audience. Normally what happens is the institute should subscribe to journals, And because the funding to the institutions is becoming less and less, the universities and institutes are not able to subscribe to the journals. So as a result, what happens is the number of journals that we can receive is becoming lower, and therefore we are not able to read many papers. But this open access journals will make the paper accessible to reader immediately. Uh, the only advantage I find here is that because more people are able to read this paper, the number of citations that your paper will receive could be larger. I'm saying could. I wouldn't say would. Could be larger. There's a possibility. But the pitfall here is that, see, in a country like India, we are not getting any money for doing research. The amount of money allotted for grants is becoming lower and lower. And there is no way we can pay huge amounts for this open access journals. So I think people like us are at a disadvantage for this open access journals. I feel bad because we are doing the work the hard way, and now we have to cough a huge amount to get the paper published. So I feel I don't even have to do the work, forget about publishing the paper in this. I might as well take a good class, prepare for a class better, read new material than to do a piece of work and publish it in open access journals. And this is the last part of my lecture. Though it runs into few slides, the information is very crisp here. What it basically means is that the journals are being indexed by a particular database, and this indexed journals are much better, are of higher quality compared to those journals that are not indexed. If we recall, those of us who have done our PhDs, say in 80s, maybe up to early 90s, or maybe mid 90s also, we would see something called as a chemical abstracts. So if you want a particular information, go to chemical abstracts, copy the chemical abstracts, the code word, come back to the journals and see what it is. So now it's all internet driven. We have everything on a software. So there is something called as a chemical abstract service. So this chemical abstract service looks at many journals, and then it makes the indexes of the contents of the journal, and then it is searchable using a search engine on the chemical abstract service. And those of us who use the SciFinder very frequently, either for a compound, for a scheme, whatever it is, will know the importance of chemical abstract service. I already mentioned about Google Scholar. Google Scholar is also very frequently used. Elsevier gives something called as a Scopus. Scopus is very frequently used by many of the people to find out what is their H index, how many papers are published in a particular year. And then there are many journal indexes for medical journals. For example, Thomson Reuters, PubMed Central, so on and so forth. As I said, CAS SciFinder is something very important. And I have seen that, okay, JAX, because I'm from a chemistry background, I'm just saying that JAX is indexed in several databases, as mentioned in this particular place here. And I've seen that research students very frequently use something called as a research gate. That is one more place where the students themselves voluntarily put a lot of information and say that these are the papers that are published. I don't know. That's something the students take a liking in that. Earlier, there was something called as Index Copernicus. Also, that was very widely used. And yeah, so the journals are indexed by certain agencies. And then so instead of looking at every journal and seeing what is it that has been published, what one can do is they can go to Scopus and find out what are the new papers published in this particular area by giving a keyword search. Supposing, say, I want to find out tuberculosis proteins, for which structures are known. Then I can go to PubMed and say that, give me all the papers published between this year to this year on tuberculosis structures, okay? Instead of finding 1,000 papers, I'll maybe get only 25 papers, okay? So I save a lot of my time in that. Likewise, Web of Science is also a very popular search engine, and every paper that we publish is given something called as a DOI. I'm just telling this for the sake of students, and this is not a part of the the intended scope of my lecture. DOI is Digital Object Identifier. this is a unique code or a website link that is given to the paper that you have published. It just doesn't change at all. So DOI is something that we should all understand what it is. And all the journals will have ISSN linkage. Likewise, books also will have a different nomenclature here. So, for example, this is an 8-digit code that is given to newspapers, journals, so on and so forth. As I said, including book. For example, JACS, if I take, the print edition is having a ISSN number, and then the web edition has another ISSN number. So in addition to publishing your paper, you should know which publishing house has published your paper. You don't have to memorize these things, but then you should know that it should have an ISSN number. Unless and until ISSN number or ISBN number is there, there is no value to whatever you do. But many of these predatory journals also unfortunately have ISSN numbers. But then we should be able to find out what is real, what is fake. Okay, that is up to us by doing a lot of detective work. And yeah, so I thank you all for the opportunity that has been given to me, and I hope I could convey something that that was expected of me. And I've cited a few papers already in this manuscript. So the manuscripts cited in this paper are the authors is whom I thank. And then paper writing, as I said, is a very difficult task. It's not easy. I think even the best of even if somebody has published 500 papers, they just can't write the 501st paper so easily. So maybe it takes a few months. I sometimes feel that it's like giving birth to a child. It's so difficult. So I thank all my teachers and students, importantly students now, with whom I have learned to write papers. In fact, I'm still continuing to write the papers. And I thank the college, the IQAC cell, St. Pious College, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Your session was really very informative. We have few questions from the audience, ma'am. I would, yeah. The first question is coming from Ajay Kumar. He is a research scholar. He wants to know that whether ideas taken from secondary source book is also considered as plagiarism.
I think it's a very vague question. So ideas are ideas, right? I think what is a secondary source book? Secondary source is it a typed question?
Yes.
Maybe I think you should elaborate a little bit more. I think the question is a little vague to me, but yeah, they say you cannot copy ideas. But as I said, indole synthesis, if somebody got an idea, it's not that only he or she will do, right? There are many more people who will do it. So what should happen here is one should see what has been done and do only that part that has not been done before. That is the only way. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
I wouldn't say the idea itself. As I said, ideas are very few, right? Ideas, everybody will not get a new idea every day. Even in my own career also, I think if I get 10 good ideas, I'll feel that my life is well lived for research. So based on one idea, I will try to do quite a few projects, right? So idea itself, idea means it's a very general term. So for plagiarism, leave what has been done, do the work that has not been done. That's the way to do. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. The next question is from Dr. Sridevi, our IQAC coordinator. She wants to know, does graphical abstract is also be written in IMRAD form?
IMRAD form.
That is introduction method.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm just trying to think. I just use the IMRAD format just to say that most journals follow that. How do I put this? I think some journals also will only want a graphical abstract that comes with the abstract. So you have abstract in text format, right? Abstract is always written in words. Along with that, they will also expect you to put a graphical figure to say, and then this is shown in the table of contents. So in the table of contents, along with your title, this graphical abstract also will come. So most of the journals that will follow the IMRAD format will also expect you to give a graphical abstract. That is abstract in words followed by a picture, followed by a very short legend to that. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. The
But
next question.
I'll just say something else. Though I mentioned this IMRAD format, there are many papers which don't have to follow this. Okay, maybe there is a paper that is only a news. Okay, so whenever something happens, immediately the news comes. Nature News, it says. Okay, so some articles will come as news, some articles will come as perspectives, some articles will come as this communication, some articles, some papers will come as review articles. So they don't have to follow this IMRAD format. So such articles also will require a graphical abstract. So this graphical abstract is something that I've seen that some of the uh, it's a journal requirement. It's not a format requirement, but it's a journal requirement.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. The next question is from Ms. Vanisri. She wants to know what are the changes that should be included while writing review articles?
Oh, that's a good question because I was writing a review. I think I just sent it 2 days ago. I hope I made a good job. Changes is again, don't repeat the words verbatim. Okay, I think writing a review is more difficult than writing a paper because when you write a paper, you are putting your thoughts into words, right? When you're writing a review, you already have several sentences picked up from the papers that you have downloaded and you have been reading. So you have to paraphrase it thoroughly. There is no way by which you can use quotes, okay, quotes to say that this author has said so and so. So each and every word has to be paraphrased, rewritten, and then only incorporate in the review. Yeah. So yeah, so again, it's here also no plagiarism is allowed, and rewrite the entire text that you have taken from the papers that you have been reading.
Okay, ma'am. The next question is from Rupashri Mukhopadhyay. She wants to know, are there any free softwares to check the plagiarism of the manuscripts without being cheated?
Without being cheated means, yeah, we always have this fear that if you put some paper in a website, somebody else can publish it. I actually, as I said, I don't do this. I did not even download this, but then for preparing for this lecture, I was looking. There's something called as a plagiarism checker X for PC. Many sites actually cite this software. Maybe it's a good thing, but we have this Turnitin in the university. We have something called as a Turnitin, which we can do. But I think, though we keep saying check your manuscript before submission, we ourselves would have rewritten it 10 times, from our first draft to the last draft. You will see that there'll be at least 10 to 12 drafts or more in between, right? So we have changed it ourselves so many times that I think the originality would have lost. Or the other, that software. Okay, plagiarism checker X is one software perhaps, and the other software perhaps is this Google Scholar. In Google Scholar, when I put my method section in the Google Scholar, I'm quite confident about my methods and discussion, by introduction and discussion, and results also. But methods, I have a fear because we often do the same methods for many papers, right? So method section is what I put in that, and my Google Scholar I feel is one more way of doing it. Yeah. So this plagiarism CheckerX is one software, and Google Scholar is one thing that one can try. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. The last question, it is coming from Rani Padmini. She wants to know, publishing in seminar proceedings is better or online e-journals?
See, seminar proceedings also depends on what seminar. What is the e-journal? It's an online journal.
Online journal.
See, online journals also are, many of them are predatory. Okay, I think I don't know. See, if the conference proceedings are able to come up with a book, see, many of the conferences, they say that after you have given your lecture, okay, or even after your post or whatever it is, they'll expect us to give a full paper, and then they will say that this all these papers will be published in by a tie-up with a Elsevier, or by a tie-up with some publishing house, a recognized publishing house. Okay, I think that is a better way of, if that is the chance, then I think it is better to publish it in the conference proceedings, because after the conference proceedings, the paper, actually I also have done it only once. I went to attend a conference in Australia, and that paper later on was published in Australian Journal of Chemistry. So what happens there is, after your lecture, you go back, write your full paper, and that work should not have been published anywhere. The condition is that the work should not have been published anywhere. So you go back, write your full paper, you send it to them. That paper is peer reviewed. In fact, twice I had to revise the paper, and finally they have accepted that paper. Okay, so that's the way it is. If that is the procedure that this conference organizers are following, then it is good to publish it in that conference proceedings. Otherwise, maybe that e-journal is better, I think.
Okay, ma'am. Dr. Sridevi wants to know that usually the processing charges are collected by the predatory journals, but even the Scopus indexed and UGC listed journals also collect fee. Can you please reflect, ma'am?
Yeah. I maybe I missed that point. There are many publishing houses like PLOS. Okay, PLOS is one publishing house. BMC, Biomed Central, is one more publishing house. In fact, many of the papers, many of the publishing houses like Elsevier, RSC, quite a few of them actually have come up with new journals which actually are open access journals. Okay. For example, ACS Omega. ACS Omega is one more journal which collects huge fees. So these are all recognized publishing houses. They follow the the peer review. They follow the same stringent criteria for accepting a paper. They will not accept every paper. Okay, they will follow the stringent criteria for accepting a paper, and but then they say you have to make a payment for this. Okay, I've seen that many of the Indians are also making a payment. I don't know how they get. In fact, I have some papers in PLOS, but then in the initial days of PLOS one, they have given full waiver, and later on they have charged $200. $200 I felt was okay to, for a good journal. Okay, so I have made payment like that. But these predatory journals, what they do is, they don't, first of all, they're unrecognized. We have neither heard about them, and usually the names are also very, very common names. Like, if I start a journal tomorrow, it will be like a predatory journal. It's something like that. Okay, unheard of starting a journal, and then they will publish the paper without any peer review. And then they will not charge huge sums. They will not charge in thousands of dollars. I'm sorry. As I said, this Vijayawada journal was only charging 500 rupees. See, 500 rupees is not even tea, coffee in a good hotel. So that kind of amount, peanuts is what they charge. I don't even know whether they have a website with a proper internet connection and so on. But then they say that they accept papers like that. So these Scopus and showing, or Google Scholar showing papers which are open access with charge money, are those journals which come from good publishing houses. As I said, like ACS, RSC, Scopus, as well as Springer. Springer also has come up with journals. Because what I understand now is, very few people are subscribing to journals. Okay, very few people are subscribing to journals, and their revenues also have come down. So I think in order to stand in the competition, they have started in parallel a open access journal where they're able to generate revenues from open access, but also support their regular journals. But my gut feeling is, maybe in 10 years from now, the regular journals which will not charge money will be hardly existing. I think everybody will start charging. This is my feeling, because those journals have come up so much. I mean, those are also respectable journals. I mean, though it is there in Scopus, in spite of being in Scopus, if they're charging money, means they're respectable journals only. Therefore, they have come up. And one more thing, these predatory journals I have seen, they say that we are listed in Scopus and DOAJ. And in fact, when we go and check, for this only I was doing for preparing for this lecture only I was checking. I don't want to mention the journals, names of journals. But then they say that the journal website mentions that they are listed in DOAJ and Scopus. When I check, they're actually not there. In fact, I spent few hours in doing the searches. They're not there. They're just there to cheat people. They're cheating people blatantly. So I think if it is there in Scopus, I think you're publishing in a safe journal. Yeah, we should have money to make the payment. I agree. Even I don't make publications in that because of the lack of money. But yeah, they're all right. It's okay to publish in those journals.
Okay,
Hello.
ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for patiently answering all the questions. We have few more, but as we are running short of time, I will mail those questions, ma'am. You can answer them.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you all
Now
for the
we
opportunity once again.
Thank you, ma'am. Pleasure is ours. Now we move to the next session. Now I request Dr. Sushma from the Department of Business Management to introduce the next speaker, Dr. Vijayalata from the Department of Chemistry, Usmania University, to the audience.
Thank you, Sujata ma'am. I deem it as my privilege to introduce our next speaker, Professor M. Vijayalata. Professor M. Vijayalata has done her MSc and PhD in chemistry from University of Hyderabad as a junior research fellow, and she was a senior research fellow CSIR, New Delhi. She joined Usmania University in 1999 and has over 25 years of rich research and teaching experience. She has supervised around 6 PhDs, and presently she is guiding 10 students for their doctoral degree. Her areas of specialization is organic chemistry, and her research area is molecular modeling and medicinal chemistry. Ma'am's thrust areas of interest include computational design and synthesis of novel drug-like molecules having high potency towards inhibition of HIV-1. She has 64 scientific articles in peer-reviewed journals with around 258 citations to her credit. Ma'am is also a member of American Chemical Society and life member of Indian Science Congress. Her research experience includes reviewing several research articles of reputed international journals in the field of molecular modeling and medicinal chemistry like Medicinal Chemistry Research, Royal Society of Chemistry Advance, Bioorganic and Medicinal Chemistry, Computer Aided Drug Design, Computational Biology and Chemistry, Indian Journal of Chemistry. I am indeed glad to share that ma'am has successfully completed around 7 research projects worth more than rupees 1 crore and has 2 ongoing projects. Her research group has so far presented as many as 59 papers in national and international conferences, and they have also won Best Paper awards. Some of her projects include computational design, synthesis, and activity studies of novel high affinity human dihydrofluoride reductase DHFR inhibitors, computational design and synthesis of small molecule inhibitors targeting non trivial proteins of HIV-1. The topics of her interest for teaching are asymmetric synthesis, conformational analysis, principles of drug design and drug discovery, lead modifications and SAR studies, QSAR studies, and computer aided drug design. Thank you very much, ma'am, for accepting our invitation. With utmost reverence, I call upon Professor Vijayalata, ma'am, to share her knowledge and expertise with the participants. Welcome, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Sushma. And also, I thank IQAC and St. Pious College for inviting me to deliver this lecture on research methodologies and what tools can be used as for the preparation of a manuscript and how references can be formatted and everything will be talked in this PPT. Shall I share the screen now? Can you see the PPT, Sushma?
Yes, ma'am, we can see.
Yeah. Okay. So the topic given to me by the IQAC people is reference management and software tools for research, which means that how you can manage putting your references in a research paper or a thesis, and how you can actually format those references in different styles, how you can project those references. And the other thing is about the plagiarism in research, how this plagiarism or the grammarly check or the other factors which generally are very very important in drafting a manuscript will be projected in this um PPT. So what exactly are these tools, and why we require these tools is because we have to talk about our research in a proper manner. If we cannot give our inputs properly, then there's nobody to hear you. That is a problem, and what you are doing is just a vibration, and it will not have much impact on the others when you are talking about your publications. So to make others understand or to teach what you have learned, research is the main source of information which has to be disseminated towards the students. If you want to be a very good teacher, it is always good to have the knowledge about the recent works which have been done, and that has to be talked in the class so that the students who are interested in doing research or going for in higher education will have an outlook about what exactly is happening outside the textbook, is what has to be understood. So for that, the teachers have to go for research and understand the recent scenarios, what is important in research and what has to be read. So for that, apart from that, you should also be able to write your research publications, or not only reading the lot of information which is there in the internet, but also you should understand what kind of research you can do to make the students more privileged than the others. So based on this, if we talk about the research tools or reference management tools, we can say that there are many tools which generally are used for reference management, for either writing your publication or or a manuscript or your thesis. Main source of research management program tools are EndNote and Mandely. But apart from that, there are many softwares. But what they generally do, these management reference management tools, what they do is they try to help you manage your bibliographic data, that is the references. And you can also store the information of these references and organize them properly, generate the citations in a different styles, as I earlier told you. And also you can convert these references to the best of the publication refer. Each publishing group has a different style of making the references. Some say you should have first name then your last name. Some say you should have the last name first and the first name, and all there are different styles. So we will be talking about them in the coming slide. So as I told you, there are number of different programs which will be used to suit these needs. To express few, they are EndNote, Mendeley, Zotero, and PaperPie. First one, EndNote, is a software which most of the universities use. Mendeley is a popular software which is used by researchers, and the main important of Mendeley is that you can also collaborate with other researchers, and it also gives you a 2 GB personal storage in cloud, so that you can store your references there. instead of keeping it in your desktop or PC. Okay. Apart from that, there is another software which is called as Zotero, which is also a free and open software. So Mandala is also free. Only thing, you have to give your authenticate email ID and a password, so that your reference will be there with the Mendeley. So these two softwares, which we are calling as Mendeley and Zotero, are open source softwares and which are free. Paperline, but it is monthly costing software. The common features among all these softwares is that, as I told you earlier, it helps in storing your references. You can add your PDFs and other files. You can generate the citations and your references. You can change the style of the reference. You can collect the references from other sources. And if you have any of these softwares available, you can sync with the other softwares also. So these are the very important features about these softwares. So we will only talk in this session about Mendeley. As I told you, Mendeley software is very, very important and helps in managing the references. So with this software, we can store, organize the references in the library, and also insert them into the Microsoft Word and cite those references in the Mendeley by using Mendeley site. Apart from that, you can also import the PDF files which are in your desktop into the Mendeley software. Or not only few, but you can use multiple documents in one place, and that documents can be easily referred when you are trying to understand which reference has to be put at what juncture. Apart from that, this Mendeley also helps you to collaborate with other people, so that you can improve your research. So, a broad view of Mendeley, if we are talking about, it means that it not only helps in references and PDF management, but also helps in writing the references or the bibliographies. Plus, you can collaborate with the other researchers and also search the articles which are of relevance to you, and also Mendeley recommends some of the references which you need, which it says maybe it is of importance for you because you were referring to so and so keywords. That is how it also helps you to understand some more articles which you must have missed in searching. So what exactly happens in Mendeley is, once you install the Mendeley desktop, it the uh, from here it extracts all the research data, and this is aggregated in a cloud. As I told you, the data of 2 GB which is given to each researcher, you can keep all your research data in that cloud, and that's how you can understand or retrieve the references from the cloud and implement in your, or put it in your manuscript. So as because the databases which we generally use will be incomplete metadatabases, or they can be incompetent licenses. So that problem will always be there in any of the softwares which we use. But Mendeley is what helps you to generate other information which is not been uh, obtained from the same data. So that way it helps. And also, um, you have in Mendeley two categories. One is called as Mendeley Desktop. Mendeley Desktop is a software which organizes the PDFs, and it helps in writing the papers. Apart from that, you have Mendeley Web. That means it is a web browser which tries to catalog 1,000 million documents which have come from 1 million researchers and 80,000 collaborating groups. And one more important point here is the Mendeley can be used offline too. So that is the best option here. That is the reason we have picked Mendeley for this reference database understanding. So we'll do an hands-on demonstration on Mendeley, but before that, I just want you to understand how this hands-on session goes about. So if we go for Mendeley desktop first of all, you should sign up the Mendeley for the Mendeley software. So for that, you should give your first name, last name, and your email address and sign up. So once you sign up, either through Google or through Facebook, it asks for you to sign up. So you can opt any one of it. So once you opt these options, then it will send a email to authenticate whether this email is yours or not, and your registration will be confirmed. Once you are registered, you can open your Mendeley software. Once you open your Mendeley software, this part of the left hand side will help you to understand, manage your references. And then this middle part is where the documents are cited as a tabulated form. Then you have the on the right side, once you click on any of the document which is being tabulated, it will give you all the notes and the other information, who are the authors, what is the journal, what is its URL number, what is its DOI number. As Professor Lalita Guru Prasad has said, the DOI number, which is very important, or you can have a PubMed ID or an archive ID. What are those, and how you can retrieve this from the internet can be understood from Mendeley desktop. So by doing that, not only that, the down part which we are talking about can also filters the papers based upon the authors, keywords, tags, and publications. So this is how basically the Mendeley desktop looks like. So there are 7 main steps you should understand when you are talking about Mendeley. First step is, if you open file, you have the option to add a single file or an entire folder, or you can watch a folder, or you can drag and drop a PDF. These are other options which you can have. You can export these files, send an email. All these can be done by this. Second is, once you have these documents, you can detail these documents automatically, and you can also take other reference data from other softwares like EndNote, RSI database, and sync those data of reference management into the Mendeley. That is the main option in Mendeley. Okay, and you can catalog them. So this is a blog where you have the 7 ways to add the documents to Mendeley. Apart from that, you can, as I told you, you can also add PDFs to Mendeley. So what you can do is, you can extract the PDF from internet and store it in your system, and then upload it onto the cloud, so that will be retrieved, that can be retrieved from Mendeley whenever it is required. So this is how the document details will look like. So if suppose you get a document like this on the left hand side, where you don't have a DOI number or an archive ID, then what you can do is, you can just say, because you have a PMID, you can just search on the PMID to see whether you have the other information. Once you search, you will get all the information what is required on which is shown in the right hand box. So all the information whatever is required can be obtained by this method. So that's what is shown here. So missing information can be automatically added to the system. So this is called as web importer. Web importer can be imported directly from mendeley.com by saying a web import, or you can locate it in many other documents which are supported by online sites. So this web importer helps you in grabbing the citations of the web, so that you can easily understand what is exactly is the information which you can use. So suppose I open PubMed and I give a keyword like genetics, then you can see some of the information given, all the articles which are related to that. This is a general word, genetics. But suppose I want something very specific, I can give a specific name or a specific key or author name, and understand which are these journals which are required. Now on the left hand side, there is an import to Mendeley. That means whichever you want, you can tick those boxes on the left, so that you can import it directly into Mendeley. and whatever is present you can just say import into the Mendeley library, then that gets the PDF gets imported into the Mendeley library. That is one of the way. And one more important thing is reviewing the papers. How do we review in Mendeley webport is that there is a site called as literature search on the left top. So if you go for literature search, clicking the literature search, you can give any of the keywords. Now I have given a HIV-1 as a keyword to see what all articles are relating to HIV-1. There are several articles which you get when you are talking about HIV-1. So you can click on any one of it. Once you click on one of the documents, you will get all the information available on the right side table, so that you will know what all information is present in that. So as I told you, you can give author name. I have given my name as Vijulata. On the literature survey, you can see all the articles which are available in the web have been sorted out in this manner. Okay, if I click on one of the documents, I get all the information what is present in that manuscript, okay, or the publication. I told you about watch folder. Watch folder will help you to identify the folder or the PDF which you have, and automatically it can be sent into your library. So next point, very important, is inserting the citations into your article. For that, what you are supposed to do is, in the Mendeley desktop, there is tools. Under the tools, if you click, you have, here it is given as uninstall MS Word plugin, but you are supposed to say it as install MS plugin, because I have already installed. It is again asking whether whether it should be uninstalled. But once you do it, you have to say go to tools and then install MS Word plugin, and also install web importer. So these two, if you install, that will be very easy for you to cite. Okay, so once you have this MS Word plugin installed, when you open your Word document, you will see under the references there is a Mendeley cytomatic, where you can insert citations, you can change the style of the citation, or also you can insert bibliography. All these can be inserted. So how do we cite? From where you cite into the Word document. So for that, once you say insert citation, once you click on insert citation, you will get a small window asking from where you want to insert. Then you can go to either go to Mendeley or my library, because both will be present in Mendeley. So you can go to Mendeley, and once you go to Mendeley, you can see, you can search with a keyword here, and you can get those articles whatever you require. Click on that article, that will be cited. So style of citation is another very important thing in Mendeley, where if suppose you have this one second here, if you see, in apart from, besides the insert citation, there is a style. So that if you click on the drop down menu, you can see that you'll have different ways in which you can style the citation. There are more styles also at the bottom. If you don't require, if you don't have want these styles, then you can go for more styles, and you can insert them into your bibliography. Once you cite all the articles, just say insert bibliography, all the references gets attached to the bibliography. So if you want more styles, you have to go for more citation styles. There will be different citation styles available that can be taken into consideration. So this is Mendeley web interface, where you can see the dashboard, where you have then you have library, papers, groups, and people. So you can click any of it to segregate your data. So how this Mendeley web helps is, it updates what all information of your personal network, whatever you have, that will be updated. Plus you can access the library on the personal library of your references. Plus you can complete your profile, maintain and build your profile properly. You can connect with other researchers. You can the also Mendeley will suggest new few papers which you must have missed, or it suggests maybe this is of important to you. And also you can understand about your personal publication statistics. Plus you can join or collaborate or create a collaborative group so that you can improve your peer members in the collaborating group. Apart from that, you can also make a web catalog of your papers and your references in your library. Okay, so as I told you, library looks like this, where you are putting all your information into one folder. So you can create n number of folders as well as n number of groups to um, segregate your references. These are the papers. And if we go for hands-on demonstration of Mendeley, I'll just quickly show you how to use Mendeley. So once you download Mendeley, this is how it looks like. So as I told you, if you open file, you can add folder, add files, add folders, watch folders. Watch folder will take you to another window where you can pick up from any of the folders whichever PDF you want, and then say okay. It will come into the okay. I'll just show you one example here. Let me go for QSAR or downloads. It's not coming. Document details, watch folders. Okay, there's some problem, but what you can do is you can just click on them so that I'm sorry. Okay, so what exactly happens here is you can add any of these folders to this. Apart from that, you can create folders. If you say just create folder, it will ask you whether you want to create a folder or not. So you can give any name to this folder. Let me say I'm giving it as FDP. That folder will be created. Okay, FDP folder has been created. Now into this folder I can bring n number of publications whatever we have. Okay, suppose I open okay. Apart from that, you can also create groups. Creating groups is another option where it will ask you whether you want to make it public or you want to invite only some of the people, or you want to post it onto something, or is it private. So it depending upon what is your criteria, you can take any of this and then you can create the group. Okay, so this is about create the group. And then you can put your references of articles. My publications is where you can put all your publications whatever are there. Now I'll just click on one of these publications to show you the data, how exactly the information is. When I am clicking on this table of one of the publications whatever we have, that shows all the information about this publication, where it has been published, what is the year, what is the abstract, what is the DOI number, ISSN number. Other things will be given in this um, screen. Okay, now apart from that, you can also go to the web browser. Here on the right hand side, you have Mendeley web import. So you can click on web import, or okay. Now in the web import, I am streaming on this StreamYard. Okay, but no other information is given. So what I'm supposed to do is I have to check for the internet where 1 second. Okay, file, add file. If I say, so I need to take a PDF. Let me say, if I say I agree, it will get added up into the publications. Okay, or if you want to remove it, just remove from the folder, it will just remove. And you can put it in some other doc sorted FDP. If I'm opening, I will just say add file. I'll just put this. It has come. Now you just click on that, it will give all the information about what is the data you require, and what is the DOI number, and what is the abstract. Abstract is very, very important, because that will tell you as to what exact work has been done in this publication. Okay, so you can make your own notes and other things to make understand this. Okay, so if we go for okay, I'll just go to Google. I'll just say PubMed. Open the site, and then just give, let me see, give HIV1 as the keyword to see, or HIV1 AIDS, or any of these keywords. Now it will search for the results, and it will give you these results. Suppose I am reading this paper. Okay, this is the paper which I am reading. Now I know this is very important for me for my research. Then what I can do is I can go to the web portal. It's a bit slow. Now I have this information here about this publication, and also it is giving some relevant publications which can be of interest for me. So what I can do is I can just go to HIV1 folder what I have opened. Okay, then say uh, add. Okay, so it starts adding all the information whatever references I have. So just go to that, say HIV1 folder. Now you can see the information added into this. Okay, so I'll just close this. Web import, view library. Sign in. So you have to give your email ID and password to create your own Mendeley software. Okay, then just close this. So you can see all the information on HIV has been added up to this. Okay, so this is how you can go to the publications and do. Now, what is the actual importance of storing these references in a given document? So for doing that, suppose I want to cite an article in my given manuscript. Suppose I say I have written something, let us say, or let me say this is my first reference. I want to give a reference here. So I should go to references, insert citation. So I will just go to a keyword like this. Maybe I want to cite this. I will say okay. Now, depending upon what kind of style I want, that gets cited. Okay, if I want more styles, I can go for more styles. I can give Vancouver, that gives you the number. So that is giving you the number. Now I want a second citation. Let me say I want HIV. Like I have to just click where the citation is required, insert the citation, go to Mendeley. Okay, go to HIV site. It is already on. So I will just click on this. Okay, this is the article which I am going to cite there. Okay, so that we can be cited. Okay, now next, just go to insert citation, just say HIV 1. Okay, maybe I'll cite this article, just say okay. Second citation has been added. Now go to insert citation, go for let us say again my citations, Vijulata. So I'll just cite this article, just say okay. The third citation has come. So now I have cited at the three places for this given text. Okay, now you can say, you can style it whatever way you want. Any of these styles or more styles you can adapt to get these citations. Okay, so now what you can do is go to insert bibliography. Once you say insert bibliography, the information which is required, the three citations whatever you have clicked up, will be seen as references. Just give it as references as a subheading, and you can add up all the references. Or if you want to insert one more citation, you can just click there, go to insert. Let us say again, I will say HIV 1. I might insert this. I can just say okay. Now the second citation also got inserted. Or initially what generally people do is, once they have maybe approximately, when they are writing a thesis, they have 100 citations available, but still, if suppose suddenly they want to cite a second citation or a third citation, what they generally do is they try to go step by step and change all the citations by number, chronological order. Suppose you have added 2, then the second reference which was 2 has to be changed to 3, and the third one has to be changed to 4, and systematically everything has to be changed. But by using this Mendeley, by just inserting another citation, I'll just put another citation for your reference. Let me put this insert citation. I'll go to my library, triple MC, or um, I can search the title from triple MC. Let us say I am saying anti-cancer. I'll just check whether it is there or not. Okay, no research, no things are found. Let me put it as HIV. I'll just see whether it is there or not. No found research. So maybe I have to go to my library only. So I will just say anti cancer. I don't know whether it is there or not. Just yeah, you have anti-cancer references, so you can click in on any one of it. Okay, I'll just click on this. I will say okay. Now a fourth reference has been added at this position. So there is no need of changing each reference every time whenever you are inserting a new reference. That is the very important information which I want to share with you when you are writing the citations to a article. Okay, so this is about the Mendeley hands-on session. If you have any doubts, you can call me anytime, or you can mail me so that I can help you in understanding how a Mendeley software can. There are many videos also available in internet, so you can also view the videos to understand. I also given a blog there that also helps you. These are the sites where you can go for understanding the tutorials or the blogs to that makes you familiarize with the hands-on session on Mendeley. So now the next topic which I am talking about is plagiarism. As Professor Lalita Guruprasad has said, this is plagiarism is a very heinous sin which we can call as in when you are in research, because you are stealing somebody's information and saying that it is your information. So that has should not be done whenever it is intolerable actually. So this generally is happening because of the huge information what we have in the literature. Because of this huge information whatever we are reading, sometimes how it happens is unknowingly you might reproduce what you have read. That generally happens, so that has to be avoided. So there are different types of plagiarisms. One second, there is some problem. That is called as complete or global, where you are just changing the author names and putting yours. That is the, as I tell you, it is a heinous crime, where you are saying somebody's work to be yours, or it could be paraphrasing, where you will be trying to put some of the phrases which have been used by others and you are claiming them to be yours. That is called as paraphrasing. Verbatim is nothing but a copy paste methodology which generally many of the students try to use. They just copy and paste that into their article, so that should not be done. Mosaic and patchwork is some kind of little bit of information, a small sentence or something which you take from others and try to put it into your use. This also comes under plagiarism. Self plagiarism is whatever information you have already published, that information you are again publishing in a new article. That is also called as self plagiarism. So whatever information you have already published should not be published again. So if there is some change, you have to try to change the sentences in such a way that it will not be the same as that. As at a minimum of 5 words, if they are coming continuously, then it is said to be plagiarized. So you have to see that the same lines will not be seen in your next work also. Apart from that, there are certain kind of accidental plagiarisms. Unknowingly it happens. You may not be intentionally doing, but it generally happens. So to avoid these plagiarisms, there are certain steps which you can use. Those steps are: you should understand what plagiarism is. These are the formats where you can understand what plagiarism is, and then you should start your writing early. You should not do it in a hurry. When you do it in a hurry, what happens is you try to copy paste few of the things or try to mimic what they have written in your article. That also will be causing plagiarism. So you should properly sit and write your own article or a manuscript. Okay, And if you are suppose taking some of the information from others, then you should give a proper citation. If you are giving a proper citation, there is a possibility that that doesn't come under the plagiarism, but nowadays this is also considered to be plagiarism. That is a problem. Paraphrasing it properly, that's what I told you, 5 words together from another article, if it is there, then there will be a problem. So you should not you should do the phrasing of your paragraphs properly, and you should present your own ideas. You should not rely on somebody else's ideas. Okay, so there are several softwares which are available, which will help you to check the plagiarism. To talk about, there are two main softwares which all the high impact journals use. They are called as Authenticate, and the other one is Turnitin. I will show you how to use Turnitin, but there are some other, if you are not able to subscribe for Turnitin, it is approximately 1,000 rupees per year. So if you can afford, that will be useful. Or if suppose you cannot afford and still you want to check whether your work is plagiarized or you have to change something, then you can use these softwares, which is called as Dupli Checker. It is a free charged software. So here you can copy paste your information, and then you can, or you can upload your document or a text file, so that you can check whether your information is being plagiarized. The detection of the plagiarism can be done free of cost. Suppose you register for this dupli check, there is a possibility that you can check up to 50 plagiarized documents. If suppose you are not registered um, user, then you have only one plagiarism check per day. Otherwise you can do 50. So it all depends whether you want to register or you want to just check it without signing up. Okay, another software is plagiarisma. This also is a easy to use multi-purpose plagiarism detector, and the importance of this is not only English, but also it takes up 190 plus languages. So almost all the languages, whatever are available, will be checked for plagiarism. So if you are a Telugu speaking or a Tamil speaking, you can also write the manuscript and then check whether it has been plagiarized or not. So this is very important for writers and also for teachers, students, and many other people. So here also, this here also you can copy paste or type your text, and you can also upload your document in whichever format you want. And the problem is, it is a free version, but it has limited checks per day. The other software which you can use is plagiarism checker. This is also free of charge, but you have to use Google or Yahoo browser. That is a problem here. Other browsers it doesn't take up. Plus it is a online content. So whatever online content you have, you can check for plagiarism. So it is free and also easy to use. Next is plagiarism checker added in for Windows. So if you have a advanced window version of 365, this is present in this Windows version itself, where if you open your Microsoft Word and you go to Insert tab, in the Insert tab you have add-ins, and in add-ins, if you select Store, you have Copy Leaks Plagiarism Checker. So if you can search for this Copy Leaks Plagiarism Checker and add, it will add up to your Microsoft Word, and each document, whatever you are typing or whatever is present, it automatically tries to check whether you have any plagiarism in the given document or not. So I will just show you a hands-on demonstration on Turnitin, how a Turnitin can be used for uh, checking the plagiarism. So I'll just go to Google turn it in. Because our university has subscribed for this, I have a login for this. So I'll just go for login. So you can see the I've just created the FTP classroom. What you are supposed to do first is you should add class. So once you add class, it will ask you what class you want to create, a standard class. You should say is this for masters or for the research scholars. Depending upon that, you can give a class name. Enrollment key, you can give again the class name. Subject, you can give any of the subjects whatever are present here. Student level also, you will get the student level. Depending upon the student level, it will be there for approximately one year. Okay, that you can take up and then submit. Because I have done for FTP, I am not doing this again. So I'll just go to the previous one. Okay, I have already added a class. So I'll just go to FDP. Now what you are supposed to do is you have more actions here. So you can submit your manuscript here. So if you submit your manuscript, it will ask you this browse. Where from where you want to browse. You can take any of the manuscript whatever you have typed here and just say open. Because I have already done it, I am not doing it, and just say upload. Okay, this is the first step. So I'll just go to assignments again. Now you can view whatever you have done. Now it says that I've just given a cover page to understand how much similarity I have. So it's saying there is 10% similarity or plagiarism in this. I have to just check whether this plagiarism is authenticated or not. So I will just check on how it is. 10% means is minimum. So this 10 to 20% is acceptable. So that can be taken up. So now I am just giving this cover page to see as to what is being plagiarized. It says my name and my designation are plagiarized, and my name, department of, this is common. You use it everywhere. So you cannot say this is plagiarized. Now I'll check where exactly I have used this 10%. So it says in slideshare.net I have used this. So it says in SlideShare, I have used this my name, profession. So this has been plagiarized. So I can say it is not worthy to say it is plagiarized. And it also says a thesis submitted to Usmania University for the award of Doctor of Philosophy. There, my name and my designation has been given. So this cannot be taken as plagiarized. So I can say 10% is always acceptable. So we can just say that is done. So there's no problem with this. Then I can proceed with publishing the things. So whichever document you want to publish, you have to just go to submit file. First you have to create a class, then you should go to submit file. In the submit file, you should give browse and select the document whatever which you want to check for plagiarism. Upload it. It will take several minutes to detect from the whole data in the internet, and then come up with a suggestion that this document has so much of plagiarism. That is the reason I have done it earlier day, so that you can see it immediately. Okay, this is about Turnitin. Now we will talk about another one which is called as Grammarly. Now grammar and spell check are very very important when you are writing a manuscript. So because there will be lot of grammar mistakes, because we are not of native English. We have our own languages, and this is a foreign language for us. And still, we are far better in writing the manuscripts, I feel. That is the reason we have to just check whether this information whatever you have typed or what all suggestions a grammar or a vocabulary or a syntax can give can be understood. For this, Grammarly, you have many softwares. One is called as Slick Writer. This will tell you as to what kind of paragraphs you have and how many redundant sentences you have, whether you have a passive voice or you have an active voice, and what kind of adverbs you are using. Are there any common starting words, or you are repeating any word continuously for several times? That also it will tell you. So this is a free software again. You can link on this click on this link to get this software. But for journals of high impact, this won't work out. Okay, they will help you to write a manuscript, but sometimes they miss some of these excuse me, some of the information. Okay, so it will give you the statistics as to, as I told you, 10% what we have seen, that statistics will be giving. And also it will tell you as to how to make a phrase and how to check the reliability, and what sentences, how much is the length of the sentence. Everything will be will be checked by Slick Writer. The other one is After the Deadline. This also is a spell checking, style checking, and grammar checking software. It is again free. It is open source. Plus, as I told you, all these can be understood, and also errors of explanation will be giving. This another software is Hemingway software. This Hemingway software again helps you to understand what exactly is the emphasis, what has to be emphasized in a given paragraph, and what is been how lengthy are these sentences. If there are lengthy sentences, it will tell you to make it shorter so that it will be more easy for the reader to understand. And if there are any adverbs which are wrongly used, that, and also some complicated words which can be made simpler, will be asked to be done. Okay, it, as the features say, it is very easy to use, and it does not require internet, and it breaks larger sentences into small, uh, improves readability for average users. That means not very sophisticated people, but a common person also can read the sentences whatever you have made. And this is the site, a link which you can use for Hemingway. There is another software called as Writeful. It improves the quality and consistency of your writing, and it also checks databases like Google Books, Google Scholar, Google News, and others, and gives you a feedback as to how your article or the manuscript is, and how the changes can be done. This is also free, and the features are, you can hear the text pronounced, plus you can check the common words used in the article. You can use synonyms, it will give you the synonyms for a given words. And it can also translate your manuscript into English language. This is the site of which you can use. The other one is virtual writing. A virtual writing is generally used for a as a Grammarly check tool, but it is generally widely used by bloggers, writers, and other professionals. So this is used to check your spellings, grammars, punctuations, paraphrases, vocabulary checking. All these will be done by virtual writing software. So it also enriches your vocabulary. Whatever word you type, it also gives you the synonyms for the same word, so that you can use those, so that you can enhance your clinches and also the power of the words, and also gives you the related field vocabulary, plus the grammar errors also will be checked. This is the site, and it is also free software. And this another software is Online Correction, where this also helps in checking the spellings and also grammar, style of mistakes. So you can see here, it will tell you as to what are the problems you have in a given typed information. So that you can check and correct those mistakes. Okay, this is again free. So it does grammar check and also spelling errors. It gives you the stylish hints, auto corrections, vocabulary, sentence construction, English dialects, and this is the site. So whoever wants this PPT, you can ask the organizers. I will keep this with the organizers so that you can download it. Okay. Grammar check is another software which you can use for. This is used for elementary writing, that is initial writing, and it is a web server, and it is online service, and you have all these features which we have talked about, like grammar and spell check and copy paste content. You can copy paste it to understand whether you are having any problem with this manuscript. Ginger software is the most used software, where you can check. It allows you to write a better English, plus this and will correct your grammar mistakes, spellings, misused words. And this is again an online free service, free software. Spelling corrections, subject mistakes, and also verbs, misused words correction, correct written text with ease. And this is the link which you can use. Okay, so here, um when we are talking about the Grammarly, apart from that, we have White Smoke 2020, which is again online software, which is free again. You can, the same features what others have, also this has. So this helps in proofreading the documents. It also helps in checking the spellings, errors, punctuation mistakes, and all. It helps in detecting the errors. Plus, it also helps in redesigning the sentences so that it increases the efficiency of the efficiency of understanding the sentence. Plus, it also improves the performance and offers additional information about each error, what error and why that error is happening. That can be understood by this software. This is the link which you can get, and I'll just give you a hands-on session on Grammarly so that you'll have a little bit hands-on session on Grammarly. I'll just go to Grammarly. I've already given one document to understand how this Grammarly works up, so that we'll not waste much time in doing it. So what it does in Grammarly is it asks you to upload the document. Okay. So you have to upload the document to understand what are the problems and what has to be corrected in the given manuscript. So here it says was is a passive voice. This sentence appears to be written in a passive voice. Consider writing it in an active voice. So was also performed has to be changed. So that way you can also see hairpin binding. It says hairpin binding. You just click on that. It will tell you it should be not as hairpin binding, but you need to hyphenate that so that it will be correct. You have to just click on this so that it gets corrected. Okay, some it doesn't know. You should just say, if add to the dictionary. Hematopoietic, it doesn't know, so it is changing, it's telling you to change the spelling. So what you are supposed to do is just say delete, so that it will not come up again. Fine. Now, this sentence, it says it is known to activate several signal transaction pathways, which is. So it says maybe you have to put a comma before the which. That makes the sentence proper. So those are all grammatical errors which generally we do because we are not native English speaking people. So those corrections can be done. So this way you can keep on checking for the documents. Apart from that, also you can check for the correctness, improving the spellings, grammar, and punctuations. There it says 424 alerts are there for this. And then clarity. Clarity is when you are writing a sentence, is the sentence understandable? Are you able to understand? It says a bit unclear sentences it is giving. So if I click on clarity, it will give you, it is giving 195 clarities. It means this sentence it is not able to understand. A knowledgeable audience might find this sentence hard to read. Consider simpler alternatives for senative angiogenesis. Senative angiogenesis, which I have put, the senative word and angiogenesis is not very clear to that. But for a scientific group, this is very clear. So I can ignore it. Or maybe I'll check for another one. It is saying in the current research by employing so and so, I have done this. So dimethoxyquinazolone, maybe it doesn't know the sentence, so it is giving. So I can check for other things also, step by step, each line and whatever it is saying. If we check, we can check on to get the information along with. Instead of along with, it is saying me if you can say add and, this will be more effective. So along with, maybe wordy, consider changing the wording to and. So if I wish to, then I can change. Or if I feel that it is very important for me to keep it that way, then I can keep it that way. This is not a correct one because you cannot start a sentence with this. So you have to change it in such a way that it will be, this means what, where, from where this has come. So you have to be very clear that you should not start a sentence with this. So that means you are talking about the previous sentence. So you have to make it in such a way that this sentence will be having some information within itself rather than from the previous sentence. That is how you can proceed. Apart from that, it also has some of the information like plagiarism. If you check for plagiarism here, um, it is checking for plagiarism. So you can also check plagiarism for the manuscript and see how the plagiarism is, how much plagiarism this manuscript is having. So based on that, you can also, I think it will take a little bit time. Okay. And also you can check for other alerts. Overall scoring of the performance, it is saying it is 53% overall score. It means not that good. You have to make many changes to make this manuscript a better one, so that it will get accepted properly in a high impact journal. So you have to see what all adjustments should be done to make it a perfect manuscript. Now if you see the plagiarism, it is saying there is 9% plagiarism. So it says 1% is from molecular and cellular properties, and this is, previous studies have shown that it is a continuous more than 5 words, so it is taking as plagiarism. So I have to change it, or um, uh, jumble the sentence in such a way that this will not match with this. Now if I change it, maybe I should write it in phrase it in a different way so that it will not be plagiarized. The other one is, it is saying it is 15% plagiarism because of this. So the whole sentence has been copied and pasted here. Therefore, adjusted survival score was calculated by subtracting the inactive score from the survival score. Sometimes it happens. You have to give the sentence. We cannot say it is plagiarized because maybe the sentence is helping you to understand the information. So that is the reason they give you a threshold of certain plagiarism. Maybe 10% or 20% of plagiarism is okay, and that is acceptable. So because it is 9%, there will not be any problem with the plagiarism. And another one, if we go for, it is saying this we cannot do because it is tabulated, and what is tabulated cannot change. So this is how you have to check where the plagiarism is. Can I change the plagiarism? So this, if you see, it is saying again 15% it has been taken from this journal. So this has to be changed. And how exactly we have to change has to be, rephrasing the sentence has to be done, so that you will get a better idea about how to reframe the sentence so that it will not be seen as a plagiarized content. Okay. Next is this. Okay. So apart from grammar, the Grammarly is also helping you to understand how much is the plagiarism content in your given manuscript. So that is how you can understand the plagiarism using Grammarly. So this is what I wanted to explain to you based on the hands-on session. And this is very very important, because for anyone who is into research and or who is doing PhD, if they want to write a manuscript or a thesis, the management reference management tools are very very important. Otherwise it becomes a very tedious process or a donkey's job to each time changing the references one by one. Instead, you can just know the style of the journal, what kind of style the journal is taking up, and based on that you can, if you can change the style, all the references which you have written will directly change into that style, so that you need not change each and every reference style. There is another easy way of doing the changing of style is, if you can go to Google Scholar. One second, I'll just show you that also. Google Scholar. Suppose I give this. Citation. Now you can see these two um, apostrophe marks. Just say this, it will give you different ways of citing it. Vancouver citation, Harvard, Chicago, APA. So depending upon, if you see this, it is just taking the first author and the rest it is saying it all. The other one is the last name followed by the first name as initials. Okay. And the other one is, it is taking the complete name of the authors. Okay. The other one is last name, then the first names. And you have to also see how the reference of this is. So depending upon how the reference is, you can just go to click on one of these, then you can change the reference accordingly. Okay. That is a simple way of doing using Google Scholar. Okay. So I click on this. Okay. Then you can cite, you can change the site of that thing. Okay. This is about Google Scholar. So overall, I just want to tell you that the reference management if you can manage doing it in an easier way, writing a manuscript is not that hard, because you have to understand what all has to be cited, and you have to know that whatever you have taken from the literature, that citations, if you give properly, the plagiarism problem will not come. And grammarly also has to be checked rigorously, so that if there are small errors in your grammar or a sentence making or rephrasing the sentence, that will help you to understand the things properly. Okay, I would like to thank everybody for patiently hearing to me. If you have any feedback, you can please give it to me. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your elaborate explanation of all the software tools used in research and also the hands-on training session. It was really very helpful, ma'am. Ma'am, we have few questions, ma'am.
Yeah.
The first question is asked by Preeta Mukherjee. She wants to know why is the percentage difference to some extent in plagiarism check of the same document in two different plagiarism softwares.
Yeah, the problem is it all depends upon the authentication and how far it is going to check the plagiarism. Sometimes some softwares, what they do is they check for only few sites and they give you the statistics. And some like Authenticate or the Turnitin, what I have talked about, they go and check for all the sites whatever are available and then give you the information. That is the reason high impact journals, what they do is they go for the software called Authenticate or Turnitin. So these are the most reliable softwares for checking the plagiarism. So generally what we have seen as online softwares, if you suppose put I in front of each of the sentence what you are taking and replace it with that, then there will be zero plagiarism. It will not check whether you are doing it correctly or wrong, but it will only see whether this sentence with this word is in the um, in any of these sites or not. So that way you can fool the things, but Authenticate or Turnitin will not do that. It will try to analyze whether this is correct or wrong and then give you the percentage. So that is the reason you'll have different percentages in different softwares.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is from Dr. Anupama. She wants to know the cost of Turnitin software.
It is approximately $25 per year, or maybe approximately 1,000, not more than that. So you can, if you are interested, you can purchase it for yearly subscription. You can go for it.
Okay, Dr. Anupama also wants to know how much percentage of plagiarism is acceptable in manuscript to publish.
It all depends upon to which journal you are sending. They will give in their terms and conditions how much plagiarism is acceptable. So based on their terms and conditions, you can mostly it is 10 to 20%, not more than that.
Okay. Dr. Sudha Swaraga wants to know whether Mendeley software is free or not.
Yeah, it is free. You have to just give your mail ID and password, and it tries to check your email and see the authenticity of your mail, and then you can download it. It is
Thank
free.
you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your elaborate explanation. I really feel that all the researchers who are doing their PhD will be really helpful by this session of yours, ma'am. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now I request our beloved principal, Reverend Sister Velangini, to please give her message to the audience.
A very good afternoon to all the participants and the faculty of St. Pius 10th Degree and PG College. I'm happy to greet you this afternoon, and I thank the resource persons. Thank you, Vijilata ma'am and Lalita madam of today's speakers. It has been a great privilege to hear you, and I wish all my faculty and all the participants have gained a lot of knowledge through this 2 day FDP. And St. Pius College also has a vibrant ecosystem for research in the college from very long time, and all the significant innovations in the field of teaching and initiations of multidisciplinary student education and research programs and UGC sponsored projects and publications in indexed journals are the outcome of the research ecosystem existing in the college. And I thank all the IQAC members along with the coordinator and the research committee members along with the coordinator for taking up this time to organize this FDP on research and also the software that is available to be used freely for going with the research. So it is a great initiative from your part, and I appreciate your initiation, and I appreciate all my staff for your enthusiastic uh, participation in this, and all the participants. I'm sure now all the participants must be eagerly waiting for the feedback form, as I've noticed them posting on the chat box. We do not want to take much time. Thank you all, and I appreciate all the organizing committee members. God bless you all.